Good evening, good evening, good evening. I couldn't say it better than the Los Angeles Lycans just did in the chat. Congrats to all the future scallywags, people who punked other teams, and people who couldn't say no. This is Free Agency Frenzy, and to all of you that left, welcome back. To all of you that would never leave, good evening. Welcome to the Free Agency Frenzy of Season 23. You can see the yellow on the map. Now, some of these yellow names will show up, like Robert Henson Jr., for example, because he came from the development team. He's back with Minnesota now in a fullback capacity, but you may see some of that. You'll also see players in white who are re-signing. We'll see that throughout the evening as well. We've got a ton of guests lined up, including at quarter past hour, our first one, Steven Mullinex of the DC Dragons, to talk DC and whatever else he wants to do. Young Vaught's in the chat, and he is signed with the Baltimore Vultures. $1.56 million is his current salary, but he comes over from the now defunct Jacksonville. There's a look at his ratings there. A nice pickup for Baltimore at the strong safety position. I believe Baltimore's strong safety, that was Troy Loshaw, retired. Baltimore also picked up Benji Matson at over $2 million at tight end. Looking at the Baltimore Vultures signed players right now, Jackson Roberts also on the roster, so Matson appears to have that tight end one spot all locked up. You can see there are a couple of free agents, players organized by salary. Ivory Irvin so far with the highest salary for Baltimore, coming in at $2.3 million. The signings are coming in fast and furious. So many, in fact, that, we're organized by salary. There we go. Back to business as Nashville has pulled in a bunch of free agent signings. We will have James Walters on a little bit later in the program. Ryan Cook was your first official free agent to sign with the Charleston Predators. Ryan Cook coming over from Portland at $1.81 million. T-Pat in the chat saying we are very excited. We'll get to more chat messages in a moment. Jubilee Marsh also coming over from back from the dev team back in Minnesota at about $600,000. Robert Thump, his new home in Motor City. He's the coach over there. He signs his contract officially. Welcome back, Fox Highwind. He is now a member of the Atlanta Swarm, $1.75 million, along with a slew of other signings that just came across for the Atlanta Swarm. Let's get to those Nashville signings, our first signings from a true expansion team this season. They get Victor Ironleg, the kicker from Jacksonville, Danny Carmichael over from San Diego, Dylan Bamsler signs at $825,000, an outside linebacker. R.C. Puff comes over and gets $1 million defensive end contract. Jay Ballmer, Jimmy Wint, couple of incoming players for Nashville. Ben Bowman signs with Charleston. Tino Sosa back in Indianapolis as Sosa continues to develop that contract, now over $1 million. You can see Sosa's agility just 1 point off of max speed, 4 points off of max there as Sosa continues his development. John Martin from Jacksonville, huge signing for the Denver Nightwings at $1.12 million. Big shout out to Denver with their signing graphics today, top tier, with the ratings on the right hand side. Good job by Jeremy Vega and the Denver team. Here's a look at John Martin's numbers. You can see the team they left, their logos in the upper left, and then the new team is highlighted in yellow there in the center of the screen. So that's how you would look at that. And then Scott Pancake signing with Motor City as well. Let's get another refresh. 3 minutes until our first guest, Leo Morris. Wow, big signing for Charleston. $1.65 million coming over from Portland. That's a big one for the Predators. Another corner to bolster Charleston's cornerback depth. Of course, Corey Menner got his team in Pittsburgh now and left the squad, so they needed some to fill some shoes, and Leo Morris is a great pickup there. Let's go over to Charleston because they have been a busy team so far today, and let's look at their top signings. Stemango reeling in the top contract, but their top three contracts right now are all going to defensive backs. Nick Hoagland and Ian Francis are back in the backfield, and John Lakeman signs his contract, $1.46 million. There were rumors that Lakeman was retiring. Looks like he's coming back to the Charleston Predators. So the backfield is secured. The defensive backfield is secured. And now Charleston is going to have to figure out who's playing wide receiver, at least from what that looks like there. All right, let's get back to the top of the board here. Marquise Sango signing with Denver at tight end, coming over from Tulsa. $1.15 million deal there for Marquise Sango. Congrats to him. Bryant Dynasty's contract has rolled through for Atlanta. He's coming back to the Swarm. There were rumors he might go to Albuquerque and play for the Adams, but instead Dynasty will be back. There's a look at his contract. Nothing or holding pat in the big passing attributes, and re-signing it probably full value or near full value there. Dwayne Salmons is back in Louisiana, $3.547 million. Still has max break tackle. There's a look at Salmons' numbers. All right, let's get to the chat. T-Pat asking, did Jack Brown make the Hall of Fame? He sure did. You can go to the SFL website to see the entire Hall of Fame class that was announced a couple weeks ago. All right, let's see. DJ the Myth, Christian Brown is here. Joseph Guy Clausen, J.W. Hartshorn, Ben Vanu, one of our newest broadcasters. Sudo Nakai is here. Tino Sosa. Yes, sir, we working, Cam. And Sosa's going to be one of those players that gets a couple $1 million coming his way, among other things. That's going to be very exciting. Mark Lopez. Huge shout out to Mark. Incredible job with helping out in the Vancouver organization. I'm seeing good things out of you, Mark, just letting you know. I have not gone over any Vancouver players yet, so you are not too late. Fox Highwind is here. Let's go Swarm. WrestleCast Radio. Excited to play in Charleston. Justin123B is here. And many others. James Walters pumping up the tempo, he says. We'll be talking to him a bit later. All right. DC is locked and loaded. It is 6:15 Central, 7:15 p.m. Eastern, and we will now bring in our first guest of the day. So that is Shabazz Synergy of the DC Dragons, otherwise known as Steven Mullinex. How you doing, Steven?
And let's first and foremost, let me say this. Happy belated birthday, my friend. 63 years old. Who knew you could make it this far? Congratulations.
63. What happened? Yeah, the years just fly by. And sorry about that for everybody listening. Steve,
they really do.
Say again?
They really do fly by, don't they?
Yeah, they really do fly by. And forgive Mullinex for blasting your eardrums out. That was not his fault. That was my fault. But
my bad.
I in my opinion, Steven, you can't be loud enough. That's just how great you are.
Well, I mean, it's better than the alternative, right? If I don't want to, you're muted, bro, me in front of this live audience would be terribly embarrassing. So
that's true. At least you're not muted. You're absolutely right. And let's make sure you're not coming in double. Okay, perfect. Everything's good. We really are flying by here. No real problems. Thanks for getting with me early this morning. But otherwise, everything seems to be going good. And I think you've got some contract announcements to make. So without further ado, you can get to it.
All right. Well,
now remember, you have to publish. Don't announce it without publishing. You know the drill.
I've already published. Just published them, and we are super excited. Well, one of the best things about this season so far, this off season has been just we have plenty of our players returning, which is great. The majority of our players are returning, so we really just had to replace just a few key areas. And we think these three gentlemen are going to help us do that tremendously. I think there's some names that you will definitely recognize here.
Yeah, let's start with Jay Hayden at tight end, $905,000 comes over from Minnesota.
Yeah, so we lost James Walters, our terrific defensive coordinator. We've really had a great relationship with James. So excited for him to become the one of the co-owners there in Nashville, and we think he's going to do a wonderful job. He has been nothing but professional with us, but just leaving some really big shoes to fill. Defensive coordinator-wise, A couple of our guys that were in-house scouts for us, for him, they're going to be taking over that role in Kano Fortson and Tyler Highfield. So they're going to become our new defensive coordinators, but we still needed that extra tight end, that blocking tight end who could also give us a little something in the receiving game. And then who's better? Who better than Jay Hayden? I mean, this is a guy who, already has gravitas in the league. And I've been trying to really get Jay over for several seasons now and just hasn't been the right fit. But him coming back off an off season seemed like the perfect time, and he was ready for it. So he's going to be welcomed with open arms.
Yeah, Jay, one of my favorite people, best voice in the SFL. Sorry to everybody that thinks they have it. I don't think so. Jay Hayden is a terrific guy. So good pickup for you guys. And yeah, with Walters leaving, you had to do something with that tight end position. All right, let's go to kicker. Caleb Richards coming over from Motor City.
Yeah, as you know, Potty coming off being SFL Special Teams Player of last season, really big shoes to fill there. We knew about Potty wanting to retire prior to last season, but he committed to staying with it just one more season, so good on him. And he had a perfect season to end his SFL career. We're crossing our fingers that maybe he'll come back at some point, but we needed to find a kicker, and Caleb Richards out of Motor City just going to be the perfect fit for us. His build is very comparable to what Potty brought to us, and us, ever since we drafted a kicker in the first round, Potty, a few seasons back, we have always invested big in our kickers, and we continue to do so here.
I like his max strength. He's going to totally destroy somebody as a tackler, maybe on special teams. What do you think, Steven?
Yeah, maybe we'll actually get a highlight package on one of your Monday night shows if he does that, right?
Well, as I've said to many teams before, if you get blown out or you're blowing people out, it's just not good television. So play a bunch of close games. Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of our games were competitive last season, and I know that we did get we got pushed out of a Monday night slot at one point. I think you regretted doing that.
Yes, I did.
Say our style of football, we rarely blow people out. So I think we deserve a lot of highlights. I'm just going to leave it there.
No, you're right. We flexed out of that Tulsa game, and I was watching that. Anytime I do a flex, I get very nervous. And then I was watching that game play out, and I thought, there's no way our game's going to be better than that game. Dang it. Dang it. Robert Crone, Steven, comes over from Queen City, signs with you on the line, $2.4 million. He's a max leadership player. Offensive linemen are very tough to come by, and Robert's an extremely loyal and dedicated individual. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, Robert, we've had discussions with Roberts he's a guy that we, just like Jay Hayden, we've had several seasons of, we were just been talking to him and seeing where he's at and kind of where we are as far as, we weren't really sure about the investment in the offensive line initially. We didn't know exactly how much it would benefit us, but then we started to look at some of the personalities that were connected to the line play. In the Michael Percocos and now, and Robert Crone here. And they just bring so much more than just offensive line play. They bring a lot to our locker room. We have a lot of faith in what Robert's going to be able to do as far as keeping everyone involved and keeping the locker room active. I think this is the perfect guy for that. And again, this is the guy who has proven season after season to progress every week. I don't think he's ever missed a progression his entire career here in the SFL. The guy's just super dedicated. You just can't get enough of those guys in your locker room to help influence your team and help lead your team. So we feel really blessed to bring a guy like him and his activity and his reputation onto our squad.
Now, one of the reasons why Synergy is dancing Gangnam style, if you look at player content or team content or whatever, he's in there excited. Mason Kirby's back. I had no idea, Steven, you had such good dance moves, but
dude,
I learned
there's a lot. I'm like an onion, dude. You're gonna have to unpeel my layers. I've got a lot to me. I got a lot of depth.
Yeah, I learned something about you every day. But you're looking right now, folks at home at DC's Hall so far. All the contracts that have come through. Kevin Say is back. $2.6 million. Nick Fargo's a big one. Moving back to linebacker, $3.25 million. Fargo is one of the longest tenured SFL players. Congrats to him. I believe he just got a new house, and he's obviously gone through a brilliant transformation over the years. But Fargo, a big addition to this team. Now moving back to linebacker. What was that conversation like?
Actually, it was pretty clear cut for us. Declan O'Rourke, our Pro Bowl linebacker, needed to take a season off, and we had that open position, a very key position for us at inside linebacker spot. And we just didn't feel like at times Fargo was being utilized to his fullest potential there on the defensive line. And so moving him to a position that he's played before, but also a position where he's a big fan of Clay Matthews, the former Green Bay Packers linebacker. Of course,
yes, you know
him. And the opportunity to move into that inside linebacker spot, wear that guy's number, and hopefully emulate his play on the field. A lot of drawing factors for Nick. Plus, we can utilize both his ability as a tackler, his speed to go sideline to sideline, on top of his ability to rush the passer from that linebacker spot. It was just a win-win for us, and it frees us up to get more playing time for everybody there on the defensive line.
Steven, I know you're a big fan of change. There's been a lot of change around the SFL. Of course, some new rules about progression, selling attributes and taking cuts and getting some money and doing this and doing that. The DC Dragons made the semifinals. You basically ran into a Canton buzzsaw, but otherwise, I mean, the Dragons, I think, season 5 won the championship, but that was ages ago in a totally different SFL world. I would argue that DC had their most successful season ever, last season. How'd you feel it all ended up, and what's your vision looking like for season 23?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we had our best season as a team, Destro and myself, the best season as a kind of a duo team. And I think what we've built over the last, 5 or 6 seasons together is finally started to culminate. One of the big things that I'm most impressed about our run is the fact that despite the game change, the kind of the coaching style change that needed to take place in the playbooks and the planning, we were still able to carry over our success from the previous game and build on that this past season and coming away with a franchise record 10 wins, and then getting to obviously what you mentioned, getting to the semifinals. That was just it was such a great season for us, and the fact that most of our players are coming back, and that we know that we're heading into the third season now under this new game and this new play calling. Playbooks that we the structure and just adjusting to all the rules that come sometimes fast and furious from the league. That we've still been able to have success, and the great thing about it, I guess, also consider is that we feel like we were certainly far from perfect in a lot of our games last season. Like I said, most of them are right down to the wire. Some of them we had to win right at the last minute. A few of those. So. There's still a lot to build on, but we're certainly happy with the progress that we've had now. And I think the fact that a lot of our players elect to stay with us, even in depth positions, says a lot about our team, our locker room, and where they think we're going.
Steven, I wish I could talk to you every day, brother. Thanks for your time here, kicking us off on this free agency frenzy. And we'll circle back with you here shortly. See you at the convention, and good luck to start the season.
All right, love you, buddy.
Before you go, what do you think about playing James Walters in week 1?
That was nasty work by you. That was just so rough because, we can't rest on our laurels about, what we kind of did last season because he knows all of our tricks. So kind of try to catch him off guard. And I'm saying that, and I could actually just go back to exactly the whole playbook. It's all mind games, people. We might just do that.
Thanks, Steven. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you, buddy. Take care. Bye.
You too, bye. All right, that was Steven Mullinex. Great job by Steven and the DC Dragons organization. We'll get back to the full board here in a minute. Our next guest coming up is going to be David Leathers. He is joining a new team this offseason, so we'll maybe talk about his signing. Hopefully, we can get that all synced up and get it out there. So. Let's go back to the board here. and take a look at what we missed while we were on the phone, and give us one more. Boy, we missed a lot. Let's go back down to. I'll make sure that all the names you could see on the screen properly. We got Wolf Highwind. There. That's your free agent. We have not talked about, and everybody else above that. Wolf Highwind, $2.44 million going to Atlanta in that package deal with Fox. Logan Gardner going to Denver. So a little bit of Jacksonville to Denver flair so far in this free agency period. $2.06 million. Parker Thomas, big signing. We're actually going to talk with Parker later on in the show. He leaves Arizona and signs with Denver, nearly $1 million contract at corner, one of the best slot corners in the SFL over the past few seasons. So big pickup there for Denver again. Let's stick with the Night Wings. They got Marcelo Martin from Denver, an offensive line, or from Jacksonville, an offensive line position. Lucas Gilbert is back with, or is going to Motor City off the dev team, signing that contract at about $638,000. We talked about the DC Dragon signings, and we've got some new Albuquerque signings. Let's get to those before we get to David Leathers. Cyrus Jive appears to be the Albuquerque quarterback. If you've been keeping up with the news and notes around the league, you thought maybe that might happen considering that front office signing, but he's now officially with Albuquerque and was their first signing, along with Chris Porter at defensive end, Joshua Williams at defensive tackle. Daniel Valentine at corner comes over from Seattle. Big pickup there, $1.57 million as of today. Bryant James, another player from Seattle, going over to Albuquerque as the nemesis, turning Chicago Warriors. Has lost a couple pieces in their secondary to the Adams. Michael Knight at wide receiver for Albuquerque has signed, a former Portland Fleet player. He was one of their best playmakers last season. A couple more from Albuquerque. Leo Jefferson from Atlanta. That's their first swarm get at just over $1 million at defensive tackle. And then TJ Frosty, another player in the secondary out of Chicago and to Albuquerque, $1.31 million. Pittsburgh has their first signing, Bubba Bruiser at defensive tackle, from Portland, signing there. Bubba Bruiser is a great player and can't wait to see, a great person as well. Can't wait to see his game develop. Lexington's got a few across the signing line. Of course, that's the Tulsa Desperados from last season. DJ Bandit is back. And then Jaden Swift, Travis Arthur is back. Of course, it shows it's a new team, but Tulsa to Lexington is essentially the same team. That's just how our portal works. A few ones that I missed from Pittsburgh. Michael Brown is the starting quarterback for Pittsburgh. He was the starting quarterback in Tulsa and will sign a $1.55 million deal with the Pittsburgh Riverhogs. So Pittsburgh's got their starting quarterback. It's Tulsa's Michael Brown, who had a big season. Not going to have Gabriel Manning to throw to this season. Going to be interesting to see what they do. Keith Wheeler comes over from Denver to Pittsburgh. And then Cooper Allen, a fullback from Arizona, signing with the Riverhogs as well. Going back through, I have not seen, did I see David Leathers? No, David Leathers is not signed. We'll get to him here momentarily. But let's see. We've got TJ Harper going to Motor City at $1 million and change. Harper back in the league. That's another Seattle Nemesis player leaving the team and now going with the V8s at outside linebacker. And then Terrell Cooper, $1.35 million, comes over from Portland. A lot of Portland Fleet players obviously didn't feel the same way that maybe their leadership team did at the end of last season. Terrell signs with Motor City. Henry McGee is going to Fort Worth, and he keeps nearly all of his speed and all of his agility, but he's going to get some money back on that as he took just a slight cut, $2.44 million. He is now a Fort Worth Toro. That's an exciting signing for a team that lost E.J. Minson to free agency, although we have not seen where E.J. is heading, unless my information is incorrect. Alex Perez is going to Los Angeles by way of Houston, 6'5", 265, $1.66 million signing with Los Angeles. Congrats to LA. Other free agency signings, Ziggy Ronick going to Louisiana from Alamo City, $1.39 million. Louisiana desperately needed some wide receiver help from last season. They got it there with Ziggy, and also from Kingston Ellington from Jacksonville, a largely underutilized, tremendous weapon on that team from last season, $1.54 million. Louisiana completely rebuilding their wide receiving core. Charleston gets Brandon Ewing from Queen City at corner, $1.37 million. Doug Spelling is left Mexico City and is going to Charleston. So there's your answers to their wide receiving core. We talked about their signings earlier in the broadcast, and they had not signed any wide receivers. They've got their first right there in Doug Spelling. Dan Curtis is leaving Houston, heading to Los Angeles and playing fullback still, $1.36 million. Bailey O'Shaughnessy has re-signed with Denver, a $5.64 million salary, and I believe that is the highest contract, at least in the last 100 signings, but I'm pretty sure across the league. Okay, I don't think that I missed anything outside of some other re-signings that have come through. Monty Wyatt back in LA for over $2 million as well. But we're going to work with David Leathers here to talk with him about his free agency signing. I think it just went through, and we're going to get a refresh on that and try to get David on the line for you. David, you there?
Oh, yes, sir, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. David Leathers, a free agent, but we're about to find out where you are going here. We hit the whole old refresh, and David Leathers is now a Minnesota Legend, $1.234 million from San Diego, now to Minnesota. Congrats, David. What a journey. Your opening thoughts.
Oh, appreciate that. And what's up, SFL? To quote the great Barney Stinson of How I Met Your Mother fame, it's going to be legend. Wait for it. And I hope you're not lactose intolerant, because the second half of that word is dairy. But in all seriousness, I couldn't be more excited to be joining Minnesota. And this was actually sometime in the making. My good buddy Max Knight's been over there and has been recruiting me for some seasons now, and actually last season it was a very hard free agency decision for me, and I almost went to Minnesota then. So when this San Diego Mavericks, who I was with last season, shut down, this was kind of my number one choice, and they reached out, so it all worked out.
David, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, when I think I talked to you at some point this season and you were pondering a retirement and maybe a start over. Am I misremembering that?
Yeah, no, I definitely was considering my options, I think. But I think I keep sort of coming back to this, that choosing defensive back was really I made a really good decision to do that in this league, just because of the flexibility of it. I've now moved around and I've played every defensive back position there is, strong safety, free safety, and I'm kind of full circle back to corner here. So it's been nice to be able to have the options open, I guess, that might not exist necessarily for other positions.
Yeah, so really my question was, when you're weighing all these options, there's so many conversations that go on behind the scenes. This is kind of my favorite time of year, because it's really the only thing I really don't understand. I really don't know what's going on out there. So what is it like weighing all those options? And I mean, this year you had all these new teams that you could potentially go and play for, and potentially, be the big bad wolf, so to speak, as a top player on a team. So, I mean, what goes into that, and do you enjoy it? Is it stressful? What are your thoughts?
I think it can be stressful, for sure, but it's also humbling. I feel that I've been in the league for a bit now. I think 7 seasons under my belt. So it's always humbling. I get people reaching out wanting me to join their teams. Obviously you can only pick one. But I mean, there I think were plenty of teams that would have been great fits for me. Just like I said, just Minnesota. I don't know. It is going to be a new team, but I also know a lot of the people over there already, so it doesn't really feel that way. And I don't know. I guess football is small, right? They said in the NFL that everybody knows each other from somewhere, and I sort of feel that SFL is similar in that vein.
21 signings so far for Minnesota across the wire. They were, a semifinalist this season, a top team. They were 2 return touchdowns from Art Vandelay away from playing Canton in the championship. Do you feel like the Legend are just that close, right? They have been knocking on the door ever since they got in the league, really.
No, for sure. I've been, I've definitely been like watching what they've had going on over there for some time now, and they've, the results speak for themselves over there. Definitely feels like I'm coming into what's already like a good situation, coaching wise and team wise. So I can just be free to kind of make some plays and contribute, get in where I fit in, basically.
Did you see any Minnesota games last season? Did you get a chance to check out Max Knight, how he plays?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's always been a force, right? Like my old teammate from the St. Louis Gladiators, actually, Max Knight. So yeah, it'll be so fun playing with him again. And you couldn't have known this when you were making the schedule, but I have games against both of my former teams, DC Dragons, who I spent my first 2 seasons with, and then also Motor City V8s, who I spent 4 seasons with. So that'll be really fun too. I think playing my former teams. Very
nice. I heard that you can't sit next to Max in the cafeteria. I heard your food is in danger there with him. He's just a force to be reckoned with on that defensive front.
Hey, noted. I'll keep that in mind.
But yeah, it's fun to, I wouldn't necessarily call you a journeyman, but you've definitely, made some rounds. You haven't spent your whole career on one squad, and you played for some pretty good teams. But now chasing a title in Minnesota, it's pretty special. Do you have any thoughts or surprises on any of the other signings that we've seen come across the wire?
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at all of them, but I saw that there was just a deluge of them, right? Like
breaking news, you just gained a couple teammates. Caesar Ackerman comes over from Baltimore. He's your new tight end over there, $1.6 million. And then you got E.J. Minson from Fort Worth, $1.55 million contract at wide receiver. That's your 23rd signing. So Minnesota's hit the minimum here just 40 minutes into free agency. But what do you think of that?
Okay, let's go. Welcome to Minnesota, fellas. Can't wait to get in the locker room and chat with everybody. It's been. I've actually not made the playoffs yet, so that's definitely my goal this season with Minnesota. Just get that first playoff experience. That's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah, that'll be incredible. And if you want to make the playoffs, go to Minnesota because they've never not made the playoffs. That's a great choice, David. But yeah, congratulations. Any final thoughts on your new adventure?
No, yeah, just excited to get going with the Legend. And yeah, good luck to everybody else next season. I'm going to tune in for the rest of the show here and watch all the signings come in.
Thanks, David. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate you. Have a good one.
You too. All right, that was David Leathers of Minnesota, and then right on cue, Caesar Ackerman and E.J. Minson joined the team, but we've got a bunch of breaking news to get to before our next guest. Albuquerque more signings. Jack Wall from Canton, $2.49 million, major pickup for the Adams. A big-time tight end for the Canton Classics. Keeps all his leadership. Got a lot of speed there as well. So a big pickup for Albuquerque there. The Adams also get former Seattle secondary player Amar Bryant Jr., one of the best corners in the SFL over the last couple seasons. Very athletic player, terrific in coverage. Albuquerque building on that defense. Chicago's got their first signings coming across the wire. Doug Day, Derek Majors, Sean Parent, Kyle Finnemore getting going. Finnemore coming over from Atlanta. Big pickup for the Chicago Warriors there. Of course, sporting their minor league SFLM logo. We'll get that switched over once their season has concluded. But yes, big pickup there with Kyle Finnemore coming over. I believe the rest of them. No, Derek Majors, actually. We'll talk with Derek a little bit later in the program tonight. He comes over from Portland. Big signing for Chicago, $1.88 million. As another Portland Fleet member finds a home. Big signing for Chicago. They needed it in that secondary with those lost pieces. All right, let's look at Motor City now. Kappa Jones coming over from Queen City, just under $1 million at outside linebacker signs with the V8s. Marco Swift and Lars Bazar are back in Lexington. Jalen Wells is back in Los Angeles, playing halfback, $3 million contract. There's a look at that. Max break tackle is still his. May Carter off the dev team back in Carolina. Jay Rock and CJ Parrish are in Lexington. Parrish coming over from the dev team, played for Houston last SFL season, so he will continue his development with Lexington. And then Tom Krieg joins Pittsburgh from San Diego. Another major shakeup in defensive backfields as San Diego's no more. Krieg finds a home with Pittsburgh, and the Riverhawks have their man at $1.51 million. All right, so coming up next on the phone with us is going to be James Walters from Nashville. We'll just doing a little housekeeping on the back end of things. We're actually give me a 1 minute break to catch my breath. I am coming off an illness, and I can already feel it here. I haven't been talking this much in quite some time. We'll take a break, and Free Agency Frenzy will continue in a moment with James Walters from Nashville. All right, we're back with James Walters of the Nashville Tempo. James, I love this day. I refreshed the portal from the time I went off the air to the time I talked to you, which was about 20 seconds, and about 20 different contracts came through. How fun is that?
Oh, that is amazing, isn't it? This is great. It's fun right now.
Remember when you had to submit your contract, and then the league had to approve it, and then the league announced it, and it was just like, it was painful.
Yeah, you had to plan that all ahead of time to get on the calls, and this is just really easy. Clicking the buttons, my first time doing it. And wow, it's pretty awesome.
There you go. Well, okay, congrats on your ownership of Nashville. We'll get to your signings in just a moment, but this is probably the first time that many have heard from you since leaving DC, getting ownership of Nashville along with Danny Carmichael. What has it been like, man, as you guys prepare for this opening season?
It's been a whirlwind. Everybody trying to, as soon as we were announced, Danny and I and Tanner, we were all on the phones trying to reach out to people. And, without the draft, we knew it was going to be tough. To be able to get a bunch of free agents. It helped a little bit, the Portland and Jacksonville folded. And so, obviously that helped a little bit, but with all these teams, with Pittsburgh and Albuquerque coming in, it was a lot of work to try to convince people to come play with us.
So we got your first 6 signings here. Let's start there. Let's go to Jay Ballmer first at fullback, because I know he's a part of your staff. I sort of bunked with him at the convention in Cincinnati. I believe he will be there again in Houston coming up to cheer on the tempo. But Ballmer's a great guy. How did that all come about?
Oh yeah, he's been a great guy. He's been with us actually since I became the head coach of Madison. He reached out to me and asked if he could try out offensive coordinator, and I was like, definitely. We'll give it a shot. He didn't have a lot of experience in the league, but that's what the SFLM is for, is give people a shot. And he's been great. He's learned through the SFLM. He's taken direction well. I worked with him on different ideas on how to improve some of his playbooks. And then of course, when Danny and I decided to start a new team, he was our first pick for offensive coordinator. Luckily, we were able to convince him to move away from Arizona, which is a great organization. So we were really, really happy to get him and add him to our team.
A couple guys in particular, Dylan Bamsler from Jacksonville, sort of one of those hybrid players from that very unique defense that the Kings had last season. He was homeless essentially, and you guys were able to bring him home. Did you kind of initiate that with a lot of the Jacksonville players, or how did that all come about?
Yeah, it was it's actually really, Danny did a lot, I did some, Jay was involved, but Dylan was one of those, like you said, he was a tweener that we wanted to try to fit in, and we thought that he's got a good start to his build, and we could really get him in there and really bring him in and build his player as we go and continue to get better. As a new team, we really looked at getting people with great character and to really, want to stay with the organization over multiple years, because even though we're going to compete every single week, we don't have, visions of grandeur that we're going to go undefeated this first year. But we're going to be in there, we're going to be competing, and we're really excited for this. And speaking of that, somebody, people that really were interested in, if you want to refresh our team, we want to bring in a lot of people from our old minor league teams, Madison and, the Tempo minor leagues. But we also brought in another great guy that everybody knows that you should be able to see if you refresh.
I got it up. Guy Clausen now. Wow, congrats.
Yeah, that was a great pickup for us. Guy is great. He's a great guy. I've talked with him met him at the convention with him and his dad there. And of course, everybody knows him. He's always big in the chat everywhere. And he's been a great add to our team. We're really excited to get him.
Yeah, Guy is a terrific guy. It was great to meet him at conventions. And I believe Guy's in the chat. Maybe you can tell me he's coming to Houston too, isn't he? I thought so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So great to have him back there. Nashville will have a presence against the DC Dragons. Are you as upset at me as Mullinex was earlier in the show for that week one bout?
Yeah, I saw that. That's the first thing I saw. I was like, oh no, because they got a tough team. I mean, we built up that team, and I was so lucky to be involved with them and take over the defense from Destro. And they really came out and let me just have at it with the defense, let me just do my thing. And I was really lucky to work with them. They're great guys, but it's going to be a tough show. But I was watching what he was putting out in offense all season, so hopefully we got a little bit of insight on what they're going to do.
Were you over there in DC in the lean years when they weren't a championship contender yet? I'm trying to remember when you got over there.
No, I was at Vancouver with Andy.
Yeah, I knew that. I just couldn't remember how many. It seems
just
like
last two seasons.
Just
last
two
two
seasons
I went to DC.
Man.
Yep.
I thought you were over there much longer. Well, you did a lot in 2 seasons in DC. I'll tell you that. But I mean, you go from Vancouver, which is an organization that is a constant winner, and I have high expectations for Vancouver this season as well with what they have going on over there and their administration. And then, of course, DC, they were a semifinalist, and they're a great team too. So do you feel like you may not be able to win right away or have a superstar team right away, but do you feel like all that experience has kind of set you up for, okay, I've seen what they do. Now we just have to, do it like that, but put our own little spin on it.
Definitely. There's always that, when people talk about experience, getting that experience, seeing how different teams run their locker rooms, picking and choosing the things that you like and putting that twist on your own. And, and Danny, he's like the Energizer Bunny, man. He's ready to go and do everything all the time. So he's a great partner. I couldn't have asked for a better team owner and Tanner with his knowledge. I mean, I think we're really set. We're all really excited to go, and we're ready to bring it to the SFL.
All right, we got more coming through. I see what you're doing here. So I'm just going to shut up and let you keep talking. Havo Ramsey, Chris Delro, sign in your defensive backfield. One from Jacksonville, one from Carolina. Your thoughts on those two signings?
Yeah, Delro, he's been really, even with the SFL he's been involved with us since the Madison days as well. And he's been a part of our front office in SFLM, and he's always been excited to work with us and say, hey, anything you guys need. So as soon as, obviously another person that as soon as we were announced as getting that franchise, we were jumping right in there, and getting him involved. But, and that's what you'll see. You'll see a lot of, from us, connections, right? From, Danny and I were both in Madison, and it's not as many connections from the pro side. It seems like a lot more connections from the minor side. But, I was, especially like with DC, when it was announced, I was already in their front office. I knew who said that they were going to stay and things like that. So I told DC, I was like, look, guys, if someone said they're staying, I'm not going to be going out there and trying to convince them to come on over, out of just a sign of respect for them. I stayed away from that. And, some people say it's crazy. Every love and war, you just go after it. But, I like to respect people I've worked with and try to just do it the right way.
Sure, absolutely. And, Nashville is a lot of people's sort of top pick because of the high class and character that you and Danny have showed throughout this process. I want to say to Jason Peace, although first, $5 super chat from Chris Delro. Nashville's here to make some noise. So Delro's in the house. But Jason Peace said, proud of what these expansion teams are doing. Can't wait to join you all soon. And I'm proud of you too, Jason. Philadelphia is having a really exciting season down in the minors. They have made some noise down there as well. Of course, you're doing all these signings, James, while you're trying to go win a title down in the minors too. This is very unorthodox for all of the teams moving up. It's never been done before, having to juggle both leagues, and I'm just glad you're still breathing and not bitter. It's great.
Oh no, we're excited. We can't wait. It's even better. We don't have to wait, right? Everybody else waiting for the season to start and everything, and we're just cranking along. We're in this a whole year and we get to do this for a whole year. It's really fun.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That's a big deal. All right, do we have anything else to cover right now?
Yeah, we just I think that's mostly it. We've got a few people, we talked to a few people that we saw obviously from Jacksonville and Portland, and we're trying to get a mix of people that are good character, had been involved. Everybody sees them and really just want to build and understand what it's like. I mean, we're not going to be, world beaters the first season, but we'll be in there, we'll be grinding, and we'll be figuring out some unique ways to get our players involved. It's been so tough out there with trying to get, everybody's putting out offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and, trying to get some more key people in the trenches. And that's been a really tough road to hoe for, I think, everybody this season.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing Nashville's continued growth, in the coming days and weeks, and getting ready for the season and all that good stuff. So, James, any other thoughts on anything you've seen come across the wire, or anything you want to talk about before we let you go?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Bailey O'Shaughnessy. I'm like, wow. I can't imagine being able to afford to pay someone $5 million. And then this Gabriel Manning just comes out at 3.3. I'm like, holy good jeez.
Now I haven't shown that on the screen yet, but is he going back to Lexington?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. You never know for sure, but the MVP is back, so that's a big pickup for them. But yeah,
Right.
I pulled up Bailey's contract for everyone to see. I mean, he's max jump, max agility, max leadership. I mean, that's gonna drive a pretty high contract. But Denver has the money to afford it. They're rebuilding, and this time I think it's with a capital R, James. I think Denver's going to make some noise in the West.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think they definitely can. Again, if Vega is coming back, like everybody's talking about him coming back and coaching, if that actually happens, I think, he's got that experience. He's been to a championship game, so if he's going to put in that time, I can definitely see that. And also with the addition of the $37 million, with the cap, I mean, I don't think that a lot of their players were at the top of the leadership. So, I think that's going to really help them to have that kind of money to give to people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, James, thanks for joining us. Congrats on everything Nashville's done so far, and good luck, as you continue on just trying to bring pieces in and build the squad.
Thanks a lot, Cam. You have a good one.
James. Bye. All right, we are rolling along strong here. I want to go back to a signing that was before we update things, because we've had a lot more come across. He mentioned Gabriel Manning, $3.36 million, but also we've got Michael Brown going from Tulsa to Pittsburgh. And a lot of people were chatting about how shocked they were that he left to go to Pittsburgh. I just wanted to pull up real quick to see if Tulsa played Pittsburgh this season. They do not, so no renewal there between those two players. But I'm sure there are many on the schedule that we'll go through in the coming weeks. Okay, we've got a lot to cover here. Even some signings off screen. That's how much we've seen come through so far. GP Wells is going to Baltimore, a $2 million signing at halfback. $2.05 million from Houston to Baltimore. So the Baltimore Vultures get another halfback. We'll take a look at their roster here in a moment in totality, but Zero Lunar heads to Charleston. King Alexander is is coming back off the dev team. The Yukis are back in Lexington along with Phoenix Jones. Big re-signing there, $1.40 million. Cody Griffin, big signing for Pittsburgh. Another great defensive back in the backfield at corner at nearly $2 million, coming over from Minnesota to Pittsburgh. Bernard Smith leaves Portland and is headed to Atlanta and will become an outside linebacker in their sort of hybrid defensive system. That's nearly a $2 million contract. BB Belitz is staying in Pittsburgh of sorts right now on Pittsburgh by way of Motor City and the developmental draft. But Belitz will play in Pittsburgh instead this year, so he'll continue on there. Dexter Jackson, this is huge. This is huge. Dexter Jackson was the season 21 Defensive Player of the Year, and honestly, he was a serious contender for winning it back-to-back seasons. That's a huge loss for Mexico City going into division. That's probably going to be a signing that's going to get buried in the headlines, but watch out for that major signing there for Fort Worth against a division foe. That is tough. Roy Towers leaving Jacksonville, going to Baltimore to play corner, $1.36 million. There's Manning's contract. Shadooby-Doo re-signs. Manning has max break tackle. Luke Schreiner also coming in at just under $1 million, back with Denver. James Jennings, Chris Cross, Darius Iniguez. Oh, Iniguez at running back. How about that from Los Angeles? $3.42 million running back contract. So Iniguez moves to running back from wide receivers. Got that 94 speed, 86 agility. Had to drop some because of the max change going from wide receiver to running back. But it's still max in those categories, and then has a perfect run route as well. So we'll see if Iniguez is hitting some seams out of the backfield for Los Angeles' offense. That is an exciting signing. Ari Mills back in Houston, Mills back in Denver, Mike St. Green back in Houston, Blackwell back in Los Angeles, a handful of signings for Louisiana as players return, including Odette and Otis Boudreau, and then Jason Peace, of course, back in Houston. So that is a look at our updated signings board. Coming up, your next guest is Charles Doherty and Brett Killian of the Vancouver Legion. They're going to talk about their signings. We have not talked much about Vancouver yet today, but we're about to deep dive with them coming up here shortly. And it looks like we have them both, Charles and Brett. How you guys doing?
Oh, Lordy,
well,
Cam.
can you hear me?
Man,
Yeah,
it's
we got you.
Been quite an afternoon, quite an early evening so far for some of you guys over on the East Coast there. How is everyone doing here?
We're doing great. How are you, Charles?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it's a fun day, man. You must be. I love how you're able to manage all this stuff.
Well, it moves fast. It's the fastest 3 hours of my year, pretty much, because it's a whirlwind, and once it ends, it's just kind of like, wow, we did a lot of work here in 3 hours.
Fun
but
listening to you.
but let's get to Vancouver. We've got a few free agents that have come out, but I want to start with Ike McBride, the former starting running back in Carolina, now signing in Vancouver. Of course, Ike and Charles go way back, but that means that Ike McBride's going to be playing against her old team in Week 1 in the Hall of Fame game. But Charles, what kind of convincing did it take to get Ike to come play with you in the backfield?
Well, I wouldn't have said a word to her if Robert Redford stayed.
Right.
Obviously, he's the Hall of Famer, and but when he said he was retiring, we knew we needed someone to step up in the backfield, and I had a couple discussions with her, over a beer or two, and she said she'd want to play with me again because if you recall, we drafted her first at Lone Star, so
right.
And she's my sister-in-law, so.
Yeah, so I mean that'll
I'm
be
probably
a big,
not a lot of surprises in the league on that side.
right. That'll be a big deal. What when she first saw the schedule, did you get her impressions of turning around and playing Carolina?
Well, she wasn't like very happy to leave Carolina because Carolina is a great group,
Yeah.
and Skippy and Harish, and I mean they run a really nice locker room, and I played there for a season as well, so I know how it is. That's a real fun team to be on, but. Ultimately she wanted to be with family, and here she is.
And then Lili Nakai also
I've heard of her
coming over as well. Yes.
Who's that?
Yes. I actually I tried to get her on the roster last year, but we had 5 very, very solid wide receivers at the time, and there's no way we were going to go with 6. So she was fortunate to sign with Fort Worth. I mean, that's a great team. She had a great time there. And, thanks to Fort Worth for signing her. But, everyone's on a 1-year contract. So once that ended, I wanted to get her on our squad.
Brett, let's talk about Ron Hoff. Big signing from Alamo City, $1.86 million at corner. Hoff has been an anchor at defensive back for basically his entire career, I feel like, dating all the way back to his Chicago days. What was Vancouver's need there, and how happy are you to get him?
Well, I think the biggest need for us was to, make bigger splashes in terms of defense. While we had a solid defense that got us to carry the team to the playoffs, we needed that bang. And as soon as we saw Ron announce his free agency intentions, both Andy and Charles were like, we need to pick him up. We need to talk to him. And it was basically an effort on all fronts. And once I got to Ron, he's like, yeah, I'm already with you guys. I'm ready to go. Let's get season 23 started. And I'm really happy to have him, not just for, you know, his speed and his coverage on both ends. He's a pretty decent run cover guy as well, but he's definitely going to be one of those corners that we're going to look at and say, hey, be careful. He's going to have 7, 8, 9 picks this season. He's one of those threats.
Either one of you can take this, but I, without divulging too much information, have been so impressed with Vancouver's organization in this offseason, and your front office has been educating players on changes and, you know, being open with everybody about everything and trying to you know, maximize your full potential. This is a team that is sort of always the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of thing. I mean, in the playoffs all the time, but just looking for that extra step to get over the hump. I feel like this could be y'all's year, but how's this offseason been, and how are you guys feeling about all this? Because it seems like Vancouver's on top of it more than most, and that's just me as a bystander looking on.
Yeah, so full credit to Mark Lopez on this one. Because
you want me to take that, Brett?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't really hear him, so I'll go ahead if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
The great,
got me muted.
I think the great thing about this organization, I finished my first season with them, is that you know, our work in the front office didn't stop at the end of the season. I mean, we had regular meetings, and we had a, you know, kind of a list of what our goals were, what we needed to focus on, and you know, how we needed to roll out these changes to our team. And I think, you know, I can't go without giving you know, some gold stars to Mark Lopez. I mean, we spent a lot of time kind of putting out the framework of what we needed to do, but he really took the reins, and man, he put together, you probably saw in our locker room, he put together a very, very outstanding presentation for the team to look at in regards to, you know, what the changes are, as well as kind of what our strategic focus is going to be for this season. So hats off to Mark.
Brett, do you have any further thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was the big thing, is that Mark and I, we were the first two people where we're like, we need to figure out what these rule changes are, how we're going to implement this, and really communicate this to the team. Because if the team gets confused, it's going to lead to us being confused. And if we're confused, it's going to cause a whole domino effect. So we wanted to get ahead of the trend and make sure that we knew what to do in the process. So you see these numbers now with our players. They are going to change slightly as the coming weeks go on before the season starts, so that we can optimize our team. So you guys better be careful, because, you know, Vancouver's coming.
Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to the cap signings on free agency day, but I will say that I am kind of happy that I only have to wait 2 weeks this year to find out what the final numbers actually are going to be.
Yeah.
Less time for me to be like version 12 or golly, somebody make a decision. So,
well, yeah, and Charles is already at version 3, so I'm a little bit concerned.
Yeah, well, you know, Charles is a Monday Night Spectacular diva. I don't think we could expect anything less from him. But yeah, Christian Brown giving y'all kudos in the chat as well for your leadership and everything that Vancouver brings to the table. I've got a couple minutes left. Charles, do you have any thoughts on anything else about Vancouver, or what else you've seen around the league today?
Well, I'm just really, really happy for you know, what we were able to do in the off season. Again, the teamwork with the front office, and also, you know, to a great extent, the patience of our players, because I know they had a lot of questions on what was, you know, coming down the pike and what was going to impact them. But, you know, we had a positive, upbeat locker room the entire time, and you know, literally a couple days ago we got out that video. But I think we're well on our way to meeting our off-season goals, and we got a couple more signings to do, but I'm comfortable for where we are.
Brett, we got a couple minutes. So anything you want to touch on?
Tough thing. I've got a lot of things to say off my chest about these contracts here.
Well, we
But
know
I
the
know-
money.
I don't-
We
I
know
don't-
the money might change before the end of it, but
Yeah.
how about
I
how
know
about
that,
one?
but I'm
Give
looking
us,
at
give us one.
5.65 million from. Yeah, I'm thinking 5.65 from Bailey O'Shaughnessy, all for 74 yards per game. I'm not sure if that's the right go with it, but Bailey is the face of the Denver
He really
franchise, so I don't blame Jeremy for handing out that contract. And there's a few other ones. I think Ian Francis as well, making the switch to halfback. A very interesting move by Charleston here.
How about Iniguez from Los Angeles going to halfback?
That's another one. I'm a little bit concerned about how they're going to handle the ball as well, because we've seen in some instances the transitional players from wide receiver to halfback, they do fumble the football. So hopefully both Charleston and LA have a plan to kind of circumvent that. But those are two solid signs, position change signings, I do say, for both those teams.
All right, gentlemen. Well, congrats on everything that Vancouver's got going on so far, to your free agents as well. And we will see you very soon. Brett, looking forward to maybe we'll be on the same team this time. And
that's the hope, hey?
Yeah, we can 1-2 punch it. All right. Hey, we'll see you guys soon at the convention, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you. Go Vancouver.
Bye, guys. That was excellent from Charles Doherty and Brett Killian of Vancouver. Coming up, our next guest is going to be Gunny McGuire and Michaela Foraker from Bozer City. So we will get them on the line and check in on what has been going on with the Steamers. And I'm actually, Michaela, if you're out there, you may need to send me a friend request so I can add you to a group DM, or bump our DM or something, because I've got a lot going on here and for some reason I can't find you. But we'll get them on shortly. We do have some plenty of contracts to get to that we had missed since we were on the phone with the Vancouver gentlemen. A slew of contracts have come in for Arizona. We will talk to Eddie Gage later in the program. But Ashley Jackson is back, Donnie Hands, TJ Punk, Will Todd, Gene Benazzi, Patrick Kelly, David Tilley, Hunter Norwood, Alex Constantine, Dee Sachs, Nathaniel Diggs, J.R. Lawless, Sean Moore, Everett Garrison, Terrell Davis. They are all back with the squad. But a new signing is Ernest McCrae Sr., leaving Indianapolis to go to Arizona. I know he is very excited to be a Scorpion, and he's a great guy as well. $1.47 million is his contract at corner. Big free agency pickup for Carolina. There we go. I got Michaela now. We will get them on the program here shortly. But back to the signings here. Mojo McLean back in Carolina. Of course, we saw the Vancouver signings. Sammy Seatbelt III back in Motor City. Ethan Sneed, Ryan Tobin back in Florida. King Jackson, Christopher Dean back in the backfield of Motor City. Some free agency stuff. Michael Brown just signing a revision to his contract, but we saw that earlier today. One of the big shockers of the day. Ty Patak and Matthias Citrion in Chicago are back from their Seattle days. Jose Fuentes is going to Nashville from D.C., so that's another signing that just went through at defensive end, just under $1 million. Devin Lloyd of Indianapolis Indianapolis, then the dev team, now going to Pittsburgh, $2.1 million. He's a max speed player. Devin Lloyd, a big get at wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Riverhogs. John Patrick Levine at strong safety for Baltimore, by way of Jacksonville, is now a Vulture. Doug Britton is headed to Charleston, $2.13 million from San Diego. Britton trying to end his curse of ending franchises, apparently. So good luck, Charleston, and congrats to Doug on his new spot in Charleston. And then Isaac Knox back from the dev team, back in Minnesota, for the Minnesota Legend. All right, now let's get with Gunny McGuire and Michaela Foraker from Bozer City. Good evening.
Good evening, Cam.
Good evening, Cam. Hoorah.
Hoorah, and happy to have both of you here on the show. All right, it's been a whirlwind for you all as well in the Bozer City front office and everywhere around the league. Bozer City, I'm guessing, holding tight onto their signings until you could join us on the show. But first, how are you guys hanging in there? Is everybody doing well?
We're doing well. We're looking forward to what transpires tonight and this weekend, and the new start of Bozer City in season 23.
Michaela, how you doing?
I'm excited to get this season started.
All right, great. I love it. Well, whenever you all are ready, you let me know when those contracts are published, and then we'll go over some of your newest faces.
Well, we got 4 to start off with. We're doing this in waves.
Okay, sounds great. Yep, I see that now. I'm going to get over to the Bozer City side of things. And where do you want to start, Michaela?
We want to welcome back some key people who we had last season, like Ace Fennick, who was great as a quarterback and has recently joined up in our leadership. But we also have Vin Calia sticking around as our wide receiver 1, who will be essential in making sure our offense still runs. And then, of course, you have our owner, Garrison Blue, and then Yogi Bar, former owner of Alamo City, is sticking around with us, helping strengthen that offensive line for us.
That's great to see Yogi back. Is he still, last time I talked to him, he was remodeling somebody's entire kitchen. Is he, what's he up to these days?
I think he finished the remodel, and he's out golfing now and enjoying his grandkids, I do believe.
Well, that is wonderful. And, of course, Garrison Blue back at tight end as well. So that's where Bozer City's starting the foundation of the team, I guess you would say, folks, as Ace Fennick, Vin Calia, Garrison Blue, Yogi Bar back in Bozer City. Okay, let me know when you're ready. Next.
Yeah,
Michaela.
we love having Yogi and Ace and their leadership, and Yogi's been helping me out a long time. We do appreciate everyone that was with the team last year and decided to move on. We all want to wish them well with their new teams.
We got someone behind the scenes. Okay, we're starting to get them loaded up.
No problem, Michaela. Hey, I get it. It's crazy times. All right, we've got our next 4 here. All right, we got to start with the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Axis, heading to Bozer City. How'd that come about?
Weird. I don't know. I guess
he's a Dave and I are both around the same age group. We're both Marines, so it's kind of a connection that we really enjoy.
So let's look at Axis, 1.30 million, and then Rob and Michaela are back as well. Michaela, I'm sure that you are excited to get moving with your signing bonus that you'll get from getting drafted and all that. Just having money in the bank to begin development. But you've stayed patient. How excited are you to get moving on that? And do you feel like this is going to be kind of the best season yet because of that?
I feel like that $2 million will be a great bonus for what I have, or for what I can do for progressing. And I'm hoping that with this, I can eventually, hopefully, become more of an integral part to the team. I'm glad to just be on the team as it is. I don't need to shine. I just want to do what's best for the team right now. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, and that's wonderful. I mean, what a great teammate. Your dad, right, Rob, an outside linebacker. There's family members all over the league, so I want to make sure I got the relationship right. But yeah, your dad, Rob, big part of the defense there at outside linebacker, also signing. And then Gunny Bogey Barr is back as well at outside linebacker with the team. Any thoughts on Bogey signing? A couple big outside linebackers there.
I love having the bogey with the team. He's got another special connection with me, with my mom and Yogi. They both all went to the same high school in Virginia, so I have a extra connection with those two guys as extended family members besides teammates.
All right, so 8 signings down for Bozer City. I swear, if I look at the paddle boat logo long enough, it looks like it's moving. It really it's really something else. But yeah, oh boy, we got some more. My goodness, Bozer City. Hey, Bozer City. I don't know if anybody's sleeping on Bozer City, but this roster is getting deep now. Okay, so we've got Mickey McGuire is back on the phone with us right now. Stuart Zomilia is coming, $700,000 from San Diego. Biff Markham from San Diego is here. Jabu McSlim is back from Alamo City. Hunter McWaffle from San Diego, $2.66 million. Bob Funk from San Diego is headed to Bozer. And Zach Benjamin back off the development team, who's currently playing with Bozer City, will play with Bozer City in the pros. And Gunny, look, you've been all the way back to the Lone Star days. It was Lone Star, and then it was then we've had San Diego, and we've had Alamo City, and we've had so many sort of versions and iterations of this team. So I'm sure that's where all that came from, but I'm sure you and Frank and everyone else involved with the Steamers are just excited for the opportunity to sort of stabilize this thing, right?
We are, and the joining up with a lot of the former San Diego Maverick players is going to be a real boost to seeing how competitive we can be for season 23. We appreciate everyone that has stuck with us on this journey as we kind of learn. We're a fairly young ownership, so we're looking forward to the journey planned ahead and hope to be a successful and competitive squad.
Michaela, any particular favorite signings out of this group? Just people who you're excited to play with out there.
Well, I guess the one person who decided to wait forever to push his own contract, so if you refresh one more time, he'll finally be there.
Oh, yeah.
The
That guy.
Cornman himself, my stats buddy, as he likes to refer to himself to, decided to finally get on the same field with him.
Yeah, Holdorf is a major piece to this organization, and he wasn't necessarily involved, I don't believe, in the Lone Star days, Gunny, but Zach Holdorf is, he's great. He's been to conventions. He's a great statistician. He helps the team out in any way he can. I'm sure he's been, a big help to your organization in trying to sort of carve your own way in the SFL.
That is 100% true. And just a side story on Holdorf, back in season 15, when Lone Star was doing their first initial draft, it was between Holdorf and Thomas Smith to be our second round pick. And lo and behold, we didn't pick Holdorf, but a few seasons later, he's actually finally a teammate.
It all comes full circle, and I bet you were probably hoping that you had taken Zach Holdorf in that draft, but, it's better late than never, as they say, as Holdorf will be a Steamer, so by my count, that is 16 players here. Zach Holdorf, $5 Super Chat. How did I end up in Bozer City? I think he's lost in a maze somewhere. By the way, Zach, I hope all is well. I believe all is well. I know that a tornado was very close to you in this off-season. What name tornado was that? Is everybody okay? Does everybody know that you're okay? I haven't gotten to catch up with you, but please let us know in the chat. And thanks for the super chat. We are glad. We're glad that you're okay. But 16 signings, quite the feat here on opening signing day for you all. Do we have anything else in store for today?
Maybe later on. I don't know if we have had anyone else sign as of right now, but there's still some stuff in the works that we're just waiting on people to sign?
We're going to be still looking for people all the way up until the day we have to send in the roster closes up on the 26th. We're still looking for depth pieces, and if you want to try out the Bozer City new uniforms, the Columbia and Navy blue, just give us a call.
The double blue is looking great. Great plug, Gunny, for the squad. And if anybody out there has liked what they've heard from Nashville or Bozer City or any of the other teams that have kind of introduced themselves on this free agency frenzy, hit them up and let them know you're interested in playing for them. But great stuff, you two. Appreciate you guys being on the show and working hard for your players and staff to get ready for season 23. And can't wait to see what you guys got in week 1 against Motor City.
Yes, sir. Congratulations to all the new free agents, and congratulations to all these new teams coming aboard.
All right, thanks, y'all, for being here. Appreciate it. All right, that was Gunny McGuire and Michaela Foraker. Great to have them on the program. Let's see. I think, Eddie, you're the only one losing audio sporadically, but if anybody else is, let me know. Everything and everyone is doing great, and it was a cornado. Wow. Jeff Banfield, $5 super chat. This is like Christmas in June. Thanks to everyone in the SFL. Love ya all. Thank you, Jeff, for the super chat. All right, let's get back to the published contracts. Who knows what we're going to see when we get back there? A lot more yellow. By the way, the contracts page on the portal displays the last 100 contracts. I always like to do this. We have had 100 contracts processed in the last 50 minutes. That's 2 contracts every minute or 1 contract every 30 seconds happening around the league. And this is one of those big days around the SFL that I always love to see, because I never know out there, is everybody going to come back? Are we going to keep doing this? And it's obvious out there in SFL land that everyone is still enthusiastic about the product, believes in the product, and so do we. Season 23, and I am very much looking forward to what is to come in the SFL. Coming up next, our next guest is going to be Derek Majors. He signed his free agency contract a little bit earlier in the day. But before we get to him, we've got some other free agent news to get to. We pick up where we left off with a big signing for Nashville. Switch Thumper, who last played in Las Vegas, is back in the league. He was a backup quarterback in Vegas, didn't play much. He previously played for Nashville, got the team all the way to a championship game, and Switch Thumper will seemingly be the new starting quarterback for the Nashville Tempo, and that is a major quarterback signing. I know the chat saw it a little while ago if they were refreshing on their own, but Switch Thumper with a big contract for Nashville. Going to be interesting to see what he can do there. Mike Churchill is moving to running back from wide receiver and Arizona to play in Pittsburgh. And he's going to be their running back 1. What a signing by the Pittsburgh Riverhogs. That is unbelievable. $4.47 million. Pittsburgh has the money to pay him. And that is going to be a very interesting backfield in Pittsburgh. Wow. That is a jaw-dropping signing there as Mike Churchill leaves his wide receiver position to go to running back and play in Pittsburgh. Alexander West back in Lexington. We saw all the Bozer City signings, come through. Khalil Thomas back in Charleston. Berto Demora back in Lexington. Carly Forge back in Denver off of the developmental contract. Stephon Forge is as well. The All-Star, $1.51 million. Jeff Gagne and Jeff Banfield, big signings. Banfield was in the chat giving that super chat. That's why. $1.18 million contract. He leaves Indianapolis out of the shadow of Ryan Roosevelt to play wide receiver with Nashville. There is his contract numbers there. So another huge signing for Nashville. And then back to Jeff Gagne, who played in San Diego, $1.19 million contract. He has been a big part of the London Knights and the San Diego Mavericks, and now trying to start something new and improved with the Nashville Tempo. One more refresh sees Ben Charbs of Los Angeles leaving Mexico City to go and play for the Lycans. Mexico City's lost a few pieces here in this offseason. Haven't talked too much about what they've got going on just yet, but maybe we'll see some signings come across the wire for them a bit later. Here's where Mexico City sits. I mean, they have a lot of players returning, so it's not like they are hurting for talent out there. I believe I count 18 players currently on the roster there, but no free agent signings as of yet. Ricky Rigatoni is back in Carolina as well. All right, Derek Majors is coming up. We're going to have a conversation with him. He, like Switch Thumper, I would say, is a journeyman of the minor league. And we've got Derek Majors with us now on the show. Derek, welcome to the program and congrats on the signing. Tell me about tell me about the process of what it was like finding a new home after Portland decided to fold up shop.
First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to talk to you for the first time, man.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. I didn't even realize that. That is insane. I still remember your quarterback days from the minor leagues. It's great that you're still here, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been fun. But yeah, man, it's been pretty cool. Honestly, it hasn't been too hectic. I kind of had an idea of the place I had in mind of going. And then once they switched up and come into my hometown, the place I've been born and raised, it made it even easier to settle here. So I'm excited. It was fun in Portland, but I'm just excited to, start a new chapter.
Yeah, refresh my memory. The transaction's already off the top 100, Derek. Where are you headed in season 23?
I am going to Chicago.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's get the Chicago Warriors up. Let's get your contract up. This is a team that we talked earlier on the show. They lost a lot in their defensive backfield. They needed some help. But for those that don't know, Derek, I want to focus a little bit more just kind of on your journey, because most people may not know you were a quarterback, and I believe you won a title, right?
I did. First one.
With Madison.
Yes, sir.
And didn't you beat Switch Thumper? No, which quarterback did you beat in the championship game?
Ace Fennick, I believe.
Ace Fennick, yes, that's what it was. Oh my gosh, just bringing back memories. But when you got drafted, there was a decision. There were just not a lot of quarterback spots open. You ended up becoming a defensive back, and that sort of became your journey. So, what has it been like all these years? Just kind of sticking it out and finding a way to maybe find joy in a way that maybe you didn't expect initially when you first started.
It was just the Portland locker room, man. That team, it just made you. It felt like a brotherhood just being there. They made it easy to, be there and become the player that you wanted to be, and that just made it more easier just to stick around. I know that we didn't win a lot, and it was, we never really, we never even been to the playoffs. I never been to the playoffs, but just the way that they operated, you believed in the vision, you believed in the goal, and you just wanted to be there. You just wanted to win for those guys up in that locker room. So that just made it easier to stick around. Even when teams came calling during the offseason, I already let them know, I'm going to be in Portland. So, and that's what I base my career off of, is loyalty. I said it when I was in Portland. I'm here when you don't want me to be here.
Yeah, no, and I think that is so commendable. And look, Portland was a terrific organization for many years. in the SFL. Even if they just couldn't put the wins together, their retention was top. I believe it was top 3 in the SFL when we did our survey from pandemic to present. So it was always a good time there. But now Chicago, now a team writing a new chapter, as Israel Adams in the chat, 199 super chat. I think that's Israel Adams. Should have moved my 6'5" self to running back too.
My boy.
There's a lot of your Portland Fleet teammates finding new homes, but you landed on Chicago. What was the difference maker for you in choosing to be a Warrior and try to help this organization finally find its identity that maybe they've been searching for a while?
Being in Portland, we played Seattle, of course, they was in the same division. So I was able to see them up close, and you couldn't just admire but their defense. Their defense was, up and coming, even to see how they progressed from them starting in the league, that's something that you envy, that's something that you want to be a part of. So when my chance was, once I heard about, the Fleet voting, I kind of got in the back of my mind, like, maybe this is somewhere, even before I didn't think they were going to go to Chicago, I was thinking in the back of my mind, like, this is somewhere I could see myself fit in, being that missing piece, to a championship defense. So, once I was able to contact teams and be able to talk to them, I heard about, what they were going for and what they were trying to achieve, and I became on board. And moving to Chicago, was like the icing on the cake. So I definitely had to, make that move if I could.
Derek, you're a very well-spoken guy. You're certainly, I think, making an impression on the SFL community, judging by the chat on and off the field. But man, when do we get a chance to meet you at a convention one of these days?
Come to Chicago, man. You should definitely come to Chicago. I mean, the NFL draft being.
Derek? Oh, I think we just lost Derek. Oh, we just did lose Derek. Just dropped off. We're gonna stay on the line, and we're gonna try to get him back here. Hey, Derek, we lost you. Oh, I think we lost Derek.
Oh, I'm back.
There you go. There, we got you. Oh, yeah. All right, come to Chicago, you said.
Yes, sir.
We were just in Cincinnati. How far a drive is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Bengals fan, so it wouldn't be no issue to come to Cincinnati.
Yeah, playing too close to Paycor would probably not be best for you. But that's good to know, man. That's good to know that we've got a Chicago native up there, and yeah, I would love to get up to the Windy City. I was there very briefly, very late at night, very cold in December, but had some great food at Central Station in downtown.
Yeah, man, it's there's a lot of great places to even come down here, man. So, like I said, look into it. You wouldn't regret it.
Would love to get back there. Derek, any final thoughts on maybe some of your teammates and where they've gone so far today, or what Chicago is building? Let me see if there's any more signings that have come across. Chicago's up to 6. They did get Kyle Finnemore from Atlanta. That's a big free agent signing as well. But any last thoughts here before we let you go?
I just want to say, I'm excited to, get out there with my new teammates and all my guys from Portland. I'm excited to see what y'all do this season. We all deserve what's coming to us. So, we all deserve to win. We all deserve to chase a championship. So I'm just excited to see them, see what they can do out there. But, when it comes to Chicago, we're going to take this league by storm. So I'm just ready to go out there and work.
Derek, thank you so much for joining. I'm glad we got a chance to speak to one another. Thanks for being such a great team player and good sport out there all these years. You're one of the good ones, Derek, and can't wait to meet you someday.
Of course, appreciate that, man. Y'all take care.
Thanks, you too. That was Derek Majors, now the Chicago Warriors. Big signing for the culture of the Warriors they are trying to build. That is terrific stuff. Coming up in a few minutes, we've got Deon Simeon. He's going to talk about Houston and all other contracts around the league, I'm sure. Let's get back to the signings around the SFL. Jacob Farmer is another Portland Fleet member. that has found a home, signing with Los Angeles at tight end, $873,000. A few more Menners signing in Pittsburgh. Taylor at guard, Butch at defensive tackle, and then Corey, the free safety, $2.4 million. This secondary defensive backfield for Pittsburgh, I want to just take a look at this just for a moment, because they've got Cody Griffin and Tom Krieg at corner, Corey Menner at free safety, Kane Vasquez at strong safety, which I think we missed earlier coming across the wire, Motor City to Pittsburgh. That is a pretty legit secondary for an expansion team. Good on Pittsburgh. Man, that is looking sharp. And right now, Devin Lloyd looking like wide receiver 1. They got Mike Churchill to go over. He's their HB1. And then they got Michael Brown, a big-time player for Tulsa. Potential offensive player of the year candidate over there in Pittsburgh. So it's big signings for Pittsburgh as the Menners come across the wire. Let's see, what else we got here? Chris Andrews, David Ware back in Lexington. Stephen Bush back in Florida. Matty Coffin's back in Baltimore. Todd Rigsby comes over from Tulsa to play for Motor City at strong safety. Ben Harrison from Seattle going to play in Pittsburgh. So $981,000 contract for Harrison. Harrison is going to be a big player in the Pittsburgh Riverhogs offense, as well as Pittsburgh continues to make some noise. Dakota Butts back in Motor City, $1.67 million contract at defensive tackle. Boy, it has been a whirlwind out there. And it is almost time for our next guest as the show keeps on rolling. It's the fastest 3 hours on YouTube, I can guarantee you that. As I always know how long we've been on air when my playlist stops. But get that back going and get our next guest on the show. Hope everybody is having a good time out there, watching all the news and headlines and information roll through. It is a fun time. Jason Peace talking about how Canton is the only team that hasn't signed anybody yet, according to him. I'll take his word for it, so we'll see what happens there. But Deon Simeon is now on the line with us, the longtime Houston Headhunters owner and SFL broadcaster. How you doing, Deon?
Hey, Cam, how's it going?
It is going great. How are you doing this wild and wacky day of free agency? Oh, that explains it all, doesn't it?
Stop. Hold on, Cam, just a second.
That was perfect timing. That was terrific. Let's go over the...
Just a moment.
No problem, Deon. Let's go over some of the signings that Houston has gotten across the wire here so far while we wait for Deon Simeon. Mike St. Green and DR Sim at wide receiver are back. Josh Slapp is back, and Demon's now ready for us. What's up, Deon? How are you? Can you hear me?
I can't hear.
We can hear you, but you can't hear me, apparently. All right, Deon is having... we're going to try Deon one more time here coming up. But running through their contracts, Guy Incognito is back, Sonny J, Al Ingram III, John Barnhart, Tiberius Bovine, Garrett Evans, Kenny Cook, Chris Britton III. They are all back. Jason Peace, Daisy Peace, coming over from the dev team, I believe. Yeah, from the dev team to Houston. Deon, we'll try it one more time. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, Deon, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Sorry about that. It always wait till I try to connect to give me some audio issues.
That's all right, man. And hey, look, your son was here to party too. I mean, it was perfect timing.
Man, this dude has this little cactus that he just loves. It repeats when it hears you make some sound. So.
Oh, that's convenient. What kind of deviant toy maker made that thing?
I have no idea.
All right, Damon, do we have do you want to start with some of your re-signings? Are we jumping into free agents, publishing contracts? How do you want to do this thing?
I do have 3 that's ready to go for me to publish.
Okay.
But we can talk about some signings here. So, man, I mean, we basically have the entire squad coming back. Some guys are going to sign their contracts a little later on this week or so. Some guys are working at the moment, so some will be signed later on tonight or whatever. But we can dive right into these free agent publishers.
Let's do it.
All right. All right, I got 3 just came through. There you go.
All righty, let's start with the signal caller, O.J. Bruin from Jacksonville. How did that all come about, and I mean, what are you looking to do with this guy?
Man, as soon as we got the news that Jacksonville and Portland both were folding, I reached out to O.J. and I also reached out to Cyrus Jive. We knew that we were in the market for a new quarterback. We was going to move on from Dave Burr due to personal reasons or so. But OJ basically jumped on it right away. And OJ and we had previous relationship where that we wanted to draft OJ coming out of his rookie his season going into the SFL pros. I think Portland ended up taking him before we got a chance to draft him that season, and it's just full circle now. So we're super excited to have OJ on board.
You also get Shepard Vakarian from Jacksonville coming across the wire. So you've got, once again, arguably the best backfield in the SFL. Vakarian is an exciting player to pair with Josh Slapp. $4.99 super chat from Israel Adams as well. He's got some flames for his contract. We'll get to him shortly, but hey, Vakarian, man, this dude he's awesome to watch.
He is super awesome to watch, dude. I'm so excited about the addition of Shepard Vakarian, man. I want you to think about something. Go back to the 2017 Tennessee Titans with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry rookie year. Those 2 guys lit the league on fire that year. And man, we're looking to do the same thing with Josh Slapp and Shepard Vakarian, as Vakarian being our Derrick Henry and Josh Slapp being our DeMarco Murray.
And then another huge signing, Israel Adams, who will be at the convention. He hit me up kind of early in the process and is like, hey, man, so I kind of live right where the convention is. So that's cool. Like, all right, let's do it. So he's coming to Houston to play for his hometown team by way of Portland at $1.43 million. Man, that's got to make you feel real good, Damon. Did that just fall in your lap? You have to work on that one.
No, actually, like I stated, when I found out that Portland and Jacksonville both were folding, I jumped on both of those teams. I reached out to a lot of people within those organizations, the players that is, to get what we were looking for and what we were needing. I mean, I had those guys, ready to sign, pretty early in the process. So we've just been waiting this whole entire time to get these guys signed, and these guys are super excited to join the squad, and we're super excited to have them. And I really love the addition of Israel Adams.
Man, Israel Adams, Shepard Vakarian, O.J. Bruin, almost the whole team coming back. You made the quarterfinals last season. You were inches away from the semifinals. Arguably, Houston's best season in franchise history. I know you made a championship in season 6, but that was many SFL moons ago. When you're talking about modern day SFL, Houston is on the rise. Very similar to DC right now, but my gosh, Damon, between you and Jason Peace and Bovine and Blake Prine and Mike St. Green, look out, man. You got to be over the moon right now.
I'm super excited and over the moon about it, Cam. This wide receiving group is going to be the 2019 Alabama Crimson Tide, where they had Waddle, Mitchie, Judy, the entire squad. Everyone touched the ball. I've been working on some things where this team, a lot of guys we're all going to get catches, and we're all going to have fun, and we're all going to score some touchdowns.
And Israel in the chat talking about teaming up with OJ for the third time. Memphis in the minors, Portland, and now Houston. That's a really that is a really cool fun fact there. All right, so what else you got for us on the Houston side of things, Damon? Anything else across the wire at the moment?
Nothing else coming across. I have another free agent waiting to sign, but it looks like he's going to be signing at a little later. So I couldn't get him to come through at this moment, but yeah, that's pretty much all that Houston has right here, and I'm excited for everyone that is coming back. Thank you guys for signing with us and believing in the squad. Can't wait to hit the field.
All right, so hang with me. I want to get your thoughts on some things around the league. First, I want to talk about Sean Sanders, Shepard Vakarian's teammate. He's going to Nashville to play with the Tempo at on a little over $2 million contract. So Sean Sanders, the teammate of Shepard Vakarian, going to Nashville as that backfield splits. 4 signings across for Chicago as well, including Nate Hall, who comes over from San Diego to play at $1 million. Paulie Truth is back at tight end for Chicago at a little over $2 million. A couple re-signings for Louisiana as well. But Damon, your biggest takeaway from the first 2 hours of free agency is what?
Man, it has been phenomenal. It's been crazy seeing these contracts come through. Just as everyone else has stated, to see Mike Churchill come away with that contract, $4.4 million. Wow! And when you were speaking with what's the young man name that came on before me?
Rangers.
Yeah. I ended up looking him up, and I was like, the name sounds so familiar. I think I had a conversation with him. I looked him up. Me and that good dude had conversations going back to February of 2020. And I was asking him, was he looking for a squad to join? And he said he was, and so forth. And I guess we just didn't get things rolling on that. But that was just full circle. But congratulations to him on his a new contract that he just got and so forth. But man, this off season has been a whirlwind, and I tell you, season 23 is going to be a crazy one, and Houston is looking to make some noise.
And the South's as easy as it's ever been, right?
As easy as it's ever been, it has. And to Chad Roland, don't you ever say that Mexico City is better than Houston.
You took the bait, man. I thought you were going to say easy, but no, you threw them all under the bus. You're ready for the smoke.
Yes, I most definitely am. The South is still going to be as hard as it always has been. I don't underestimate any opponent that I meet up with at the 50-yard line before any game. But man, it's going to be a great season. I'm looking forward to it.
You host the convention this season. You're playing flag football, right?
I am playing flag football. I got some pain in my hips and in my groin, and I'm hoping that those are not going to give me an issue or a problem. But I'm going to play through it. So that's that.
Hey, you're going to be like Porzingis. He said, "I'm going to die out there." If they asked him if he was going to play Game 3, we're excited about that. You guys get to host Pittsburgh opening night of the convention. You know, they're a brand new team. We were just talking about Churchill getting that big contract over in Pittsburgh, but I mean, they're going to be a brand new squad. You're going to be at home trying to do some big things. Man, opening night of the convention is going to be amazing.
Yes, opening night at the convention, as you stated, is going to be amazing. Hosting Pittsburgh, the Menor brothers are from the area, you know, so it's going to be pretty much a nice dog fight. As you just showed a while ago, the secondary of Pittsburgh. I mean, wow. Now looking at my receiving group, we got to go up against that. I'm sorry, we're going to have to shred those guys.
Did you say I'm sorry we have to shred those guys?
Yeah, I'm sorry we're going to have to shred them. Mike St. Green have already informed those guys they're getting an L on opening night. So.
Oh, Damon, that's awesome. Can't wait to see you in about a month's time, and congrats on everything y'all have built in Houston. It's not 15 free agent signings because you don't need 15 players, but my gosh, the players you got, those are some big gets. Congrats on that, and good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, we have a total of 28 contracts prepared for this upcoming season, so yeah.
Looking good in H-Town. Appreciate you, Deon.
All right, thanks, Cam. Thanks for having me.
All right, that was Deon Simeon of the Houston Headhunters. Man, that is some exciting stuff going on in Houston. Really looking forward to seeing what they do. Charleston's got a quarterback signing, Iman Kopech, who was a backup in Houston last season. In Charleston, he'll be a backup to John Lakeman, but Kopech signs a new deal with Charleston, maybe hoping to get some more playing time. I know he was in some he was a formation sub last season for Houston, played sparingly but did get on the field. So Kopech signs with Charleston. The signings starting to slow just a little bit, but we still got some great coverage for you in the last hour of the show. Eddie Gage will be joining us in a couple minutes to talk Arizona. He may have some more signings to discuss. Chad Roland at 8:15, his Say It With Your Chest partner. Harish Brad at 8:30, and then Parker Thomas going to round us out at 8:45 to talk about his signing with Denver. So Eddie Gage is coming up next. Always a great conversation with him. And they had a lot of signings come across the wire a little bit earlier this evening. All right, let's get some shout-outs in here. I have not been able to say hello to people just yet, or here in a while. King Sunton in the chat, Cliff Allen, Benvenu, Fort Worth Toros, three-time defending South champs checking in, as Fort Worth would like to remind Houston. Justin Reside is here. Candy Cane is in the chat. Greg Soto, OJ Bruin, Chris Britton, Will Todd is here, congratulating OJ. Adam Wiseman in the house. Switch Thumper back as a starting quarterback in the SFL. Congrats, Switch. Connor Weston, many others as well. Harish, unfortunately being behind. Eddie and Chad says they're going to talk for hours, and maybe he's not going to have enough time. But that's all right. I'll keep him honest. Don't you worry. I'm in charge. I'm in charge here. This is not a side server. All right, let's get Eddie. Let's get Eddie on the air. Eddie Gage, what do you want to bust my balls about before we start our actual conversation today?
Well, you knew that was coming because, I mean, damn.
You always do.
You announced one of my free agent signings. I hit the wrong button.
I
figured you would put 2 and 2 together, and you just went ahead and announced it anyway. I'm like, damn.
Well, it was on the screen. What am I supposed to do?
Ignore it. That's what you're supposed to do.
And they're not going to ignore it. Everyone's going to talk about it in the chat.
Oh, man. They wasn't paying attention.
Well, anyway, how about that Ernest McCrae Sr., huh?
Thanks, Cam, again. No, it's first of all, it's been a crazy offseason for us. We are not in Arizona used to having so many free agents to sign. I mean, typically we've never had more than 2. I think once or twice we've had 3. And so to have this many people that we had to sign, it was a lot of work to do. So first of all, I want to give props to Ashley Jackson and Nathaniel Diggs as they were putting in some serious work this offseason. And man, you talk about, putting in some serious time and effort into bringing in all these players. It took a lot, as there was a lot of competition out there to sign everyone with the couple of franchises that folded and so on and so forth. So I just want to give those guys their flowers because that guy and gal their flowers because they put a lot of work in. So, but yeah, we re-signed a lot of players. We've had a number of retirements. Big Game James, he started his own company and he's dedicating a lot of time to that. He hasn't really even been watching the games, and so he felt like he wasn't contributing in that regard in terms of being active in the locker room, so he left. Iverson Gamble retired, so lost out on that player. Man, dude, it really sucked to lose Sean Crooked, my left tackle. This is a guy who started off his career as a defensive tackle, and one day after he got murdered, sacked about 3 or 4 times in the game, and said, Eddie, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help out. We don't have any offensive linemen. I want to help start that trend to get us offensive linemen, and stepped over and did a great job for us. Never spoke a lot, but he just did his job and went home, watched the games every week with us, but was not really talkative, but he took a lot of pride in his job. And anytime DJ, he made a big hole for DJ to run through, or we went through without giving up any sacks. He and guys like EJ the Q, who also retired, they took a lot of pride in that. So to lose both of those 2 guys to retirement really hurt, because they were a great locker room presence. But everyone that we lost this season, it's hard losing those guys. But with that, change comes, and sometimes change can be good. One thing I noticed, I was sharing this story with Damon earlier this offseason. I remember when I was a defensive coordinator for Houston, and I can't remember who we were playing, but you were caught in the game along with someone else. And at one point, man, that YouTube chat was full of hyenas, and you came in there and said, man, look at all these hyenas in the chat. And that got me hyped up. And I've always, since that day, looked forward to having a more active locker room. Now, it's not always good to have those guys active, because sometimes you got to reel guys in. Like sometimes I have to reel in Sean Moore, because anytime someone says something negative about the locker room, anybody on our locker room, he ready to go out there and bang heads. But other than that, man, I love having active people on our squad, man. And we got a bunch of characters coming this offseason. Let's just go ahead and get into it. But before I do that, Cam, as you saw, we were having trouble finding a fullback. And I don't necessarily like to go in there and post player openings, although I've had done it in the past. I like to kind of keep things on the quiet, so that I don't want people and other teams to know what moves we're trying to make. Mm-hmm. But we got desperate, and so we put a post out there and didn't get a single response, man. People had already committed and stuff like that. And the plan was to use our tight end too as a fullback. But of course, you had to go in there and ruin that party thanks to the championship game. And so I had to make changes, because there were sims in which Adam was getting 13, 14 carries and 3-4 catches. I'm like, man, I can't risk getting suspended. I don't want to curtail our chances and lose out and getting kicked out the locker room and so forth. So I put that to bed and just told Adam, hey man, just keep the progression, brother. I'm going to try to find ways to get that tight end 2 involved, although it is very hard to do so. So we'll see. I got some things in the works, but it's just a work in progress. But with that said, with us not being able to find a fullback, man, you want to talk about, go ahead and hit the refresh button, Cam.
Will do.
In about 3 seconds.
Oh.
And this gentleman here, you can go ahead and hit it.
Okay.
This gentleman here stepped up and reached out to me and says, Eddie, I know I was the offensive rookie of the year, and I had 5 touchdowns and 500 something yards rushing, but if that's what it takes to get our roster with a fullback, I'm your guy. Hit me up. And Bismarck Wright stepped up and says, Eddie, I'll be your fullback. I got it. I don't know if I'll always remain on as the fullback, but as for now, that job is mine. And he took it with pride. And that, along with that $2 million signing bonus, thank you, Commissioner. We're going to get this bill to work and get him going. So Bismarck Wright, our new starting fullback for season 23. Happy to have him. You've already mentioned Ernest McCray. First of all, I got to give a big shout out to Everett Garrison and Terrell Davis, because this move is not possible without them. I said, hey, this guy has some value, and with the loss we have in the offensive line, it is hard to get that value in free agency. Guys with that much value on the offensive line, it's hard to get them to move teams. They're humble, and with us having that extra cap to spend, Ernest McCray, I can't remember who reached out to him or if he came to us. I can't even remember. Honestly, it was a while ago. But ever since we got to talking to him, we set up a group chat amongst him and our front office. And he has been, talking every day. He's one of the guys I can't wait to get in the locker room, because he talks to us all day, every day. He starts out before I even wake up in the morning. Good morning, Scorpions. And he's just hyped up every day, all day. He's messaging in there, so I can't wait to get him in the locker room. He's already ordered some Scorpion apparel, and I'm ready to get that guy going. I cannot get him to stop talking. And one day I have to tell him, listen, bro, I got other free agents to bring in, man. Just hold tight. I'm gonna get back to you in a minute. But go talk to Diggs or something. I don't know, but just hold fast and I'll get back to you. So I can't wait to get him in there, because not only is he active, but he also has some value. But like I said, none of that happens without Everett Garrison, who's a former Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Terrell Davis stepping up and saying, hey, Eddie, if it makes the team better, I'm all for it. And they agreed to move down the depth chart to make that happen. So, Ernest, when you get in the locker room, make sure you reach out to Everett and Terrell and tell them thank you, because without them agreeing to do so, that move is not possible. I'm not going to try to hold up too much of your time, Cam. I retired, man. It was hard to do, bro. I mean, hard. And the closer we get to opening day, the harder it is. And I'm like, damn, it sucks getting off that field, man. And, I can't play anymore. I played football my whole life since I was like 8 years old. And to not see my guy out there, number 27, man, I never got that freaking illustrious pick six in my career. I came close a few times, and I never forget the time I stepped out of bounds. My left pinky stepped out of bounds when I was playing with Baltimore, and I missed out on that pick six. They called it back, and it was sucked. And to know I would never get another one, man, it's heartbreaking, man. And I still have problems dealing with it. But there's a greater good, and I got guys in the locker room who do not want me to retire, and they saying, Gage, you sure you want to do this? And I'm just like, man, listen, I can't continue to do this by myself. I lost Jay Bomber to Nashville. He was my help over there in terms of scouting, running sims and all that. So to lose him, that hurt, and I don't want to do it all by myself, man. I'm trying to find ways to spend more quality time with my family. And so I have to bring in help to do so. And with that said, where's this guy's name at? Here he is. Go ahead and hit the refresh button, Cam. This guy's a coach, scouted for his team, has been to to a championship game. And I had to sign him.
Albert Begin, 1.7
Albert
million.
Begin, strong safety. He's another guy's been talking all day, every day. I'll get into that later, but I've had some talks with him because I'm kind of nervous about some things, the way Arizona likes to do things, and some of the guys I'm bringing in, they kind of break that mold a bit. But the value he has off the field, man, Cam, I cannot match, and I want to get that help in there. Anytime a guy's been to the championship game and pushed Baltimore to the limit the way they did, that they defense played fantastic. In fact, he had a pick six in that game, and so it's been a pleasure to bring him on. He's been very active as well in the group chat I have set up with him. And I look forward to having Albert on the team, man.
Hey, and speaking of Baltimore, T-Pat in the chat said, Eddie, recreate a cornerback and play for Baltimore. I guarantee a pick six. Wow. Wow.
I don't know who's worse, him or Dax, man. But, I always say if I got a pick six, I was going to send in a $5 tuber chat and tell Dax he got find something else to talk about, because he tends to constantly bring that shit up.
Hey, man, you got about 4 minutes. I know you got more in the chamber here.
Oh, yeah. We re-signed Adam Grabowski. Go ahead and hit the publish button. He was a late re-sign. He was kind of busy today with work and stuff, but he's coming back to the fold. Also, with Albert joining us, of course, hit that refresh button. Of course, his wife came along with us, and she's a team player, agreed to move from defensive tackle to offensive line, and I look forward to her. She got a pretty good build, by the way, and she's out there. She's going to be a force out there. I played some sims with her, and she's working out pretty darn good right now. But we not done, gang. We got a lot to go. Of course, Iverson Gamble retired, called it a career. I'm going to miss having that individual in the locker room. Go ahead, that refresh button, Cam. This guy right here, it wasn't even my front office. It was Sean Big Dog Moore, one of our team captains, who got him on board.
People were wondering where he was going to go.
Yeah, he's coming to the desert. You kidding me? And I love having him. He hasn't missed a convention since he started coming, and he's active in the locker room. He's another guy who talks out there. And I didn't know this about him, but I heard he was a he was a walk-on, I think, for LSU as a safety or something like that. So
I can believe that.
yeah, man, he cut up, but I had to keep turning him left all night and give him that jab to the body, get him up off him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having him out there on the squad, man. And he kept saying, where's my contract? Where's my contract? That man come to the desert. Can't wait to have him. Another gentleman, go ahead and hit that refresh button, Cam. Another gentleman who coming on who could not wait to sign his contract too. He's not necessarily helping us off the field, but you know, anytime I'm losing, you know, we lost one of our slot corners who did stats for us, and this gentleman stepped up. Bo Martin Jr. came in and said, "Hey man, you know, a couple teams I'm thinking about talking to, but you're number one on my list." I said, "Look no further, brother. You bringing some value. Again, we got to replace that value we lost on the offensive line." He coming to the desert. Bo Martin Jr., welcome to the AZ, bro. I can't wait to get you in the locker room. And of course, hit that button again, Cam. As you know, our kicker, you know, he went MIA after week 3. But guess what? This man said, "Eddie, I miss home. Man, can I get back in AZ?" I said, "Of course, man. Perfect timing. Go ahead. I'm going to send you this contract. Go ahead and sign it." And Cam, I forgot to send you that darn video again and to the top of your board. But don't worry about it. I'll post it somewhere later. Y'all, Cliff Allen is coming back to the desert, man. I missed that dude, like I told him at the convention. And he's going to be a stalwart for us. DJ Moses, he likes to sign his contract last because you're always trying to give value away. Hit that button. You'll see DJ is back in the fold. Yo, we lost a wide receiver. He went over, I think, was it Pittsburgh who gave him $4.5 million?
Mike Churchill, yeah, they gave him $4.5 million to be a running back.
Yeah, he did. Congratulations, brother. I wish you nothing but the best despite the way it ended here. Hit that refresh button. We got a man who's going to play as our wide receiver 4 who does not care about catches. He just wants to be in a great locker room with his friends. Hank Arturo, I'm going to find a way to get you the ball, brother. You can believe that no matter what position you play on the field, I'm going to try to find a way. Yo, but we not done, Ken. We got more work to do.
This roster has more people than Delaware.
Slow down, man. Hey, but we not done because I got one. I got a couple more, and some of them are not around to sign their contracts yet. But yo, Cam, when I tell you I wasn't done, I don't want just me and Albert doing the work. Go ahead and hit that button again, Cam, because this man right here. Again, I want to thank TJ Punk and everybody else in their wide receiving core, because he has more value than all of them. But he's going to help me off the field because he's also a former coach, former scout. Man, this man has been DMing me all day, every day, too. Yayo Montana, welcome, brother, to the desert. I look forward to seeing you here. Can't wait to get you in the locker room. And, man, we've been talking for a long time. He had a couple teams he was talking to, but thankfully for us, I was able to get him over here to the desert. And Cam, last but not least, because I do have one I can't sign yet because they're not available. He live overseas, but he's returning to the desert. And I got one more offensive lineman, so don't worry. The Red Sea will be back just as good as ever. Not as good on paper, but we're going to make it happen one way or another. But I got one more signing, Cam, because guess what? When my man agreed to move to fullback, we still have some money left under the cap. Hit that button, Cam. This man right here.
Oh!
I gotta thank Rain Rie for this one, because without him, I wasn't even looking at this guy. I promise you I wasn't. But Rain Rie hit me up and said, "Yo, man, you got room for this guy?" And I said, "Man, goodness. I will find a way," because I saw the way that Houston had that 2 running back system last season, and we played them. They gave us fits, and I said, I gotta find a way to get me some money to get us a 2-back system too. So, Brad Jones, brother, welcome to the desert. We just got him literally around midnight last night. Because I heard he was hurting somewhere else, but then I got word he might have been going somewhere else, but that don't matter. I'm sorry, wherever he was going. But Brad Jones, welcome to the desert, brother. Can't wait to get you involved. And DJ is a team player. Although DJ is my number one in terms of salary, Brad Jones has the better rating, so he'll probably be my starter. I'm not sure yet. I got to get in there and run some sims. But DJ don't even care because he's a total fucking team player. That man, he said, I don't care what it takes, Eddie. Let's just go out here and win some games. So Brad Jones, welcome to the desert, brother. Can't wait to get you in the locker room along with the rest of y'all. And by the way, Gunny, I called him right before I came on, and I meant every last word what I said, brother. I promise you this was not intentional. It just worked out that way. But I'm glad to see that Bozer City got their roster stocked with a lot. I don't know how many people they have, but I saw a lot of blue when I hit that refresh button. So I am happy to see Gunny not only get some players, but some quality players are going to help out that squad, because I was really feeling bad about that, about us getting all those former ACA players. But that's all came. I got 2 more, but I can't announce them yet because one lives overseas and the other one is still at work, can't sign it. But I look forward to get them in the locker room as well. That's it. That's all I got, Cam. Sorry, I hope I didn't go over my time limit.
Oh, you did? You went into Chad's time? I'm sure he will tell me all about it. But hey, guess what? The rivalry is back, Eddie.
What rivalry?
Jeremy Vega in the chat. That's a great roster on paper.
Hey, I think Jeremy coaching this season too, and we in the same division. So
that's what I'm saying. Man. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, tell Jeremy. Hey, we got robbed with that doggone fumble from DJ and a kickoff return from what's her name. Other than that, we win that game. I was coming for their ass, man. I was still wasn't a coach quite good yet, but I was coming.
Just
wind
them up and watch them go, folks. Hey, I don't know if Jeremy said it with that inflection, but I just kind of added it because it was.
He probably did.
All right, Eddie. Thanks so much. Congratulations on the signings. That is a lot to take in, my friend.
Arizona, I love y'all. Let's get to work, man.
All right. Talk to you later, Eddie.
Yes, sir.
Bye. Oh my gosh. What a haul. I don't even. First off, that was it's a great time to have Eddie and Chad on the show because my voice was starting to go. I had been doing a lot of talking. I've been doing a lot of directing. And to get Eddie and Chad on in the final hour has been great for me. I don't know if it's been great for you all, but it's been great for me. And I am happy to be in that position right now. And we're just going to keep it rolling because we got to keep the show on a schedule. And we're gonna hit up Chad Roland of Indianapolis right now. Chad, sorry, you're the first late interview of the night.
Nah, it's all right. I mean, it's not surprising. Eddie always runs everything over anyway, so it's no big deal.
What's up, Chad? How are things?
Things are good, man. Things are good. Just, excited. Been watching the show all evening and been seeing some great signings and some very questionable ones as well, but that's neither here nor there.
That's for the show, probably. Looking around the league at some of the free agents before we get to Indianapolis, we had Freddie Trammell and David Parker back in Bozer City, Mike Mello back in Lexington, Arizona's all their signings, and then Nashville a couple more. Easton King moving to running back from wide receiver to fill their void, $1.29 million, and then Jim Copeland Jr., an underrated signing. He leaves Jacksonville heading to Nashville, big tight end there. For Nashville. All right, so let's get to Indianapolis now. You had a number of players come through earlier, a bunch of re-signings led by Brian Roosevelt, your number one receiver, who is obviously your offensive leader. Jack Russell's up there too. Adam Wiseman as well. But anything you want to say about them before you get to free agency?
I mean, for the players that have come back, I'm really excited. This is, it's kind of like I mentioned on Ashley's show. This is a different attitude and, changing the culture, and we're just really looking forward to season 23.
All right, man. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, I'll try to make it a big spectacle like Eddie Gage did. We got a few signings we're going to announce, and then also a staff announcement, which I'll save till the end that I haven't actually told anybody about. So one of the things we wanted to do, the main piece this offseason was to build up the offensive line. Last season, we had Hadrian Marlowe and Jimmy Hayes, and with Christian Pierce as a running back, I mean, he's a solid running back, but it just wasn't getting it done. And one of the big emphasis is what I wanted to do was bring in some meat there on the offensive line. So the first person I want to talk about is a really good friend of mine, somebody that I actually drafted in the past. And if you want to hit the refresh, I can't really see your screen there, Cam, but
I got it.
Anthony Anderson coming over from San Diego to help kind of anchor this offensive line, one of the better ones in the SFL. So really excited to have Anthony back under my team as well. So really excited for him. And obviously, we have some re-signings that we have to announce later on, plus my signing as the right tackle for this team this upcoming season. But I needed to get an anchor on the left side of that line, Cam, because I needed somebody that really could come in and be the best offensive lineman in the SFL. And if you refresh it, that is none other than Jamarcus Candy. So Jamarcus Candy, Anthony Anderson, myself, along with the other two re-signings that we're going to have a full offensive line this year in Indianapolis.
That's big time. That is a lineman with 95 pass block is pretty rare in the SFL. Yep. So kudos to you.
Yep. So that was one of the big things we wanted to do. And, with this new offensive line, we figured, we really want to be able to establish the run, right? One of the things that I have been known as a coach in my past is the fact that I just can't run the ball. And so I fully admit that, right? Robert Merrill was underneath my coaching, whatever, right? And then the next season he becomes an MVP under Liam. So what I want to do is I got a couple of people that I want to talk about. One is going to be somebody that I've really gotten to know, and he's a great guy, and he's going to help come in here and help do some blocking for us as well. And that's going to be a fullback by the name of Robert Noel. Rob Noel coming over from San Diego this past season. He's going to be somebody that's really going to help us in the blocking, along with another re-signing that we have as well. And so people probably wondering who's going to be running the ball, right? Because we already signed Tino Sosa, who was a developmental player last season, is going to be a big-time addition for us. But I really wanted to emphasize this person, right? Because I'm telling you this, Cam, if there was a breakout player of the year in the SFL, this person is going to get it. And that is none other than former Fort Worth Toro running back Charlie Baker. Charlie Baker is somebody that you guys are going to have to keep an eye on, because I'm telling you what, looking at him in the Sims and everything else, he's been doing a lot of damage in this offseason. So I'm really looking forward to see what he does with this really revamped offensive line this season.
Yeah, he's a fast little guy back there. And that's a very interesting signing. He's not the only former wide receiver now playing running back one on a squad this season. So just that whole dynamic's gonna be really fascinating.
Yeah, and he was a wide receiver, I believe, a couple seasons ago in Fort Worth, but he converted over to running back last season, spelling behind J.Z. Bacon. So as people know too, we'll continue with the offense. We lost some key players in the wide receiver core, right? We lost Jeff Banfield, who obviously went to Nashville. Devin Lloyd, I believe, is getting a number one opportunity there in Pittsburgh. And so I went through the wide receiver, free agency list and was really had my eye on two people. And one of these guys was somebody that was on an offense that really didn't utilize him, I think, well. And it wasn't because of whatever, it's just the scheme that they played. But I'm really looking forward to what he's going to be able to do in our number 2 spot, and that's to be Reggie De Niro, coming over from Louisiana. He's a perfect complement to Ryan Roosevelt, I feel like. And in my history, my number 2 wide receivers, Mike St. Green, Jeff Banfield. I mean, these guys have been really excelling when underneath my coaching. And so, having that person be able to come over is going to be a big signing for us.
Reggie De Niro's breakout game, Chad, last season, I remember, was against Canton. He was like the guy that was doing everything in that game, and it was like, wow, this guy's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it really showed what flashes he has, right? I mean, there was some games where, the passing offense didn't really do a whole lot there, but like I said, that's because of how they were built. But you saw that Canton game. You saw exactly what Reggie De Niro can do, and I believe he's going to be able to continue that in this new Indianapolis offense. And then somebody that really popped out to me and watching the film this past season and calling a few games, and I really kept my eye on him. He's going to be somebody that's going to be coming into as a slot receiver, right? And somebody that can really do some damage on the field. He's still got some time, he's still got some development left in him, but this is going to be a guy I think is going to be a huge key for us, and that's going to be former Queen City wide receiver Xavier Knight. Xavier Knight not only going to come over into the into the passing game, but also helping us on the special team side as well. So really looking forward to what he's going to be able to do on the field for us.
Who's next?
So next has already been announced, as our team president, and now we get to officially put him in there on the defensive line, somebody that I am just so pumped up to have back on my squad again, and that is none other than the man himself, Sir Ron Yates IV, the best defensive tackle in my mind in the SFL period. don't argue with me. That's just how I feel about it. So, and then the last free agent signing I have one more, but that contract has not been completed yet. But I do have one more, and it is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. Somebody that I'm really excited to get back underneath my wing as well. Somebody that really stood out to me in my time when I was in London, and stood out when he played in different cities and everything else. And he's going to come in. We lost Ernest McCray, obviously, going over to Arizona. And so this guy's going to come in and really fill that void and more. And that's going to be none other than Anthony Wayo.
Oh, that's big.
So Anthony Wayo coming over, going to be leading that cornerback group. Obviously we converted Melodious Manning over to corner, which is going to be interesting as well. Really looking forward to what he's going to be able to provide for us this upcoming season.
I really want Anthony to play for every team before he retires. How awesome would that be? I mean, seriously, that would be actually pretty darn cool. And he comes over to Indy. Yeah, that's a big pickup for you guys. You guys needed that signing. Looking at what you have at corner, I mean, now you've got Melodious Manning, who's a very unique skill player, and then Menefield, and then obviously Weil is your anchor there. So that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, Menefield was somebody that really just jumped out of last season and really had a breakout year, I feel like, playing alongside Ernest. And so now getting somebody who I feel is actually probably a little bit of a step up, and Anthony Wayo. I mean, Ernest, don't get me wrong, one of the best corners in the game, but I mean, when you get somebody with Anthony Wayo's talent, I mean, you got to be able to snag that opportunity. So really looking forward to what he could do for us. And then last thing, which isn't free agency, I get to a certain degree, but it is a free agent for us. I do want to announce a staff signing. It's somebody that I've been working very closely with this offseason and really we have a great relationship, really trying to develop what this team will be. He really bought into the goals of what I want to have for Indianapolis. And obviously with, Adam Wiseman stepping down as co-owner and, head coach, I've taken a lot of those reins on. And so, bringing in people like Sir Ron Yates, for example, is going to be able to help us in the front office and also with a little bit of the coaching stuff. But I wanted to get somebody else who had a little bit more experience, building books and this and that in this SFL era. And so, it's somebody that I actually gave him his first job in the SFL back, in the days with the London Knights when he was a scout, and now he's come up and really helped in the league, and he was a head coach at one point. And so it's a great honor for me to be able to announce Mike O'Neill is officially on the Indianapolis Ramblers staff for this upcoming season. So really excited to have Mike with us.
Congrats to you, and congrats to Mike, and congrats to us for the $2 super chat from Derek Meerkat. Still won't be able to beat Minnesota.
Well, I mean, it's week one. I mean, it's going to be an honor to be able to play them week one and really set the tone for the league. But, I'm not really going to say much more to them. They already know what the result's going to be. It's not going to be
Oh, man. Great stuff, Chad. Thanks for being here. Change your profile picture, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you on the next show.
Profile pic stays, Cam. You know that.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Coming up next on the show, Harish Prasad of Carolina. Man, what a night. We are starting to roll down. I see the Canton has its signings coming across the board. We will not hear from Mike All this season. Was not on our did not make our first come first serve list, but they've got a lot of re-signings coming in. Scar Patterson, Robert Johnson, Bill Cherry, Andrew Gibson, Ryan Owens, Bob Lung, Adam Chance, Kiara Kilganon, Girth Lord, Max Van Linga, and Neil Rivers, all back for now in Canton. And then, we're all caught up because we got a couple from Nashville and all of Indy's just now as well here on the program. We did not mention specifically, but Chance Wall, Blakey Craze will be back in Louisiana. So Harish Prasad is next. We will get him on the line, find out what is going on in Carolina. Harish, we got you? Harish?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
There we go. How you doing, Cam?
I'm doing well. Got anything you want to say to anybody?
Well, first I do want to start off with, I just want to congratulate Chris Delro and Ike McBride on their new spots. You know, they were great you know, they were really good in the locker room for us for the last couple of seasons, and especially Ike too with, you know, Fear the Schmear. Yeah, you know, we're fortunate to have had her on the squad, and you know, it sucks to lose her, but you know, I hope she does well on every week except for week 1. You had to have known that was gonna happen when you set that schedule.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Sometimes I get some inside information, then other times I get surprised by things. But yeah, I couldn't resist with all the Vancouver and Carolina people going into the hall. It was just, you know, how could we not? But yeah, totally. You've got a good squad here. A lot of re-signings earlier on in the day. Anything you want to touch on, you know, with any of those players coming back?
Yeah, I mean, we're excited about the core we have. You know, when we moved to 2K4, it was a little bit of an adjustment period for us coming off our first playoff win of the season and of our franchise. And you know, we came into 2K4, we went 5-7 last season. We started off a little rough, but that was just a lot of us trying to figure out, you know, just where we were coaching wise. Mojo McClain was doing his first season as a coach, and you know, I'm still learning about the game myself, but we've got a great squad that I'm pretty excited about. You know, especially with our receiving core with Quintero, Hall of Famer Chris Curtis, Chase Earl, and Bacigalupi was a monster on special teams, and he's pretty flexible in places we could put him on the offense and defense. We felt really good about the way we played down the stretch. We finished the season 6-6, but we had a chance to get in the playoffs there. But you know, we didn't show up in that last week in a game against who turned out to be the champions. So
yeah,
you know, we're really excited. The biggest key for us in this offseason was retaining as much people as we can, and we retained a good portion of our guys. So you know, I don't exactly have the Chad Roland, Eddie Gage show going on with my free agency here, but you know, we're excited about the guys we get to bring in. You know, I don't have all the showmanship that they do.
Well, let's see them. I'm excited to see what Carolina's been able to do in the offseason.
Okay, so I just published my first one. You know, on paper it's not going to seem like much, but LJ Hobbs is the ghost of Logan Jack's past, and the biggest reason I'm excited for him to come back is,
wow,
you know, Logan Jack's a good buddy of mine, and you know, when he left, it hurt. You know, it hurt the locker room a ton. So you know, we're you know, Logan and I are both, you know, we're excited that we finally get to reunite, and you know, he's going to be in it for the long term. So we feel like he could be a real force in that pass rush.
And you know, in the past, Harish, with the old rules, I mean, Hobbs would have been dead, and now in terms of like trying to get development right for him as a as a new player, but now being able to distribute money and things, like Hobbs can have an SFL career, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, we've got plans for him. We feel very confident we'll be able to get him up to speed, and you know, we've got a lot of guys that were willing to take cuts, and the new rules were definitely a big factor in what led to this happening. When those rules came out, I mean, one of the first things I thought when I saw Logan Jack retire was, man, I've got to bring this guy home if he really doesn't want to play as a running back. You know, we'll make it work. You know, because it's important from the locker room perspective too. You know, I mean, I'm sure you know this, that's always been like the number one thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no doubt. All right, great. Who's next?
All right, next is a familiar face. I published it there for you. Let me know when you see it.
Yeah, TD Jack.
Yep. So that's another one that we're pretty excited about. I talked a little bit about how we were excited about how good our defense was, and we've really invested in our secondary here, so we feel like this defense can take another step forward, and it was a really big reason why we were making plays down the stretch, and I mean, between the starters and who's going to play in the backup slots, we feel pretty confident that T.J. Jack's going to slot in very well here.
The LA to Carolina flip-flopping continues over the course of y'all's franchise history, and I think y'all are on the schedule again. It's a fairly early game, week 4. Maybe?
It is. Yeah. You just can't resist that matchup, can you?
No, of course not.
You think we love these matchups, but we really don't. Sully and I hate playing each other.
You do. I don't know. I don't hear it. La 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 la. You do. Okay, who's next?
All right, and here we go.
Now that is a spicy meatball. Mike Ryan signing from Indy to Carolina, $1.75 million. How did that happen?
Well, a good part of it is, Tyler and I have been friendly for a while. Pause. But another portion of it is he's he's pretty good friends with other people on the roster too, like Chris Curtis with the broadcasting, and he's familiar with a lot of people in the locker room, so it definitely felt like a natural fit. And then on the field, he's going to slide in as the starting free safety. Skippy's taking a step back to let him slide in that spot.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big pickup. That's going to make your secondary a whole heck of a lot better. And Amon Eaglin coming back has been really a tremendous player for you. And then Joseph and Hatley have been anchors at your cornerback spot for years. So yeah, that Mike Ryan was kind of that missing piece. Maybe since Wyatt left, do you kind of feel like?
Yeah, I mean, Skippy definitely did an exceptional job last season, and I totally would have been comfortable having her, and she knows that as the starting free safety. But this was totally her decision. I mean, she's the one who really drove this one home. I just sat back and let her work that one out. So we're pretty excited about this one too, and I'm sure Tyler is too. But this one kind of built up for a little bit.
All right, what else you got?
That was the last one, but
okay.
We are still waiting on one more that hasn't signed yet. But we're feeling pretty good about the season.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I think 22 is what I see currently on the roster. So I mean, you're definitely going to hit that minimum. Like you said, Carolina. Sometimes the teams that have a lot of people coming back, like maybe a Canton or a Florida or whatever, they don't really grab the headlines because they don't need to. This show is not for them. And this show was not for Carolina today for sure because of all the re-signings and everything you guys got going on. So any thoughts as to what we have seen transpire over the last 2 hours and change?
Oh, man. Where would I even start with that? I'm not going to ramble on like Eddie Gage for like 6 hours, but good Lord, man. I did not expect them to bring in all of those guys. All of the Alamo City crew heading over to Arizona is a big get for them.
Yeah, we just got some new ones on the wire as well. Talon Steele's going to Canton to take Jack Wall's spot. $2 million signing there. Canton also got Terrence Pearson from Motor City and Zachary Hamburger from Arizona, along with many re-signings for the Canton Classic. So I'm sure people are going to be digging into their contracts as well. But that means with them coming through with a whole bunch of signings, every team published a whirlwind of signings throughout free agency, Harish, and my gosh, there's so many new teams out there. This is going to be probably the most, I guess, fascinating season from a on the field standpoint the SFL scene in a very long time. There is a lot of new out there.
Right, yeah, and I mean, even within our own division, Nashville's looking like they'll be pretty tough to face. I mean, they've got a good squad, and of course they've got my guy Delro over there, and I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how it shakes out with all these new teams. The team I'm definitely intrigued with is Albuquerque, because Swole's my brother. Shout out to Swole, happy birthday. But yeah, it's going to be definitely pretty interesting.
Swole gets to sign himself and all of his new teammates on his birthday. How about that?
That's crazy. I mean, it couldn't work out any better for him.
That's a nice way to celebrate. And then he'll be down at the convention too, because he's now a Houston native. He just moved down there, and so we'll get to see him spar with his old team in Atlanta. And yeah, it's going to be good. Do y'all play Albuquerque this season?
I don't think so, actually. I think the only new teams we've got are, I know Nashville's on there because they're in our division. I can't think of who else would be on there. Maybe Lexington. Yeah, Lexington's on there.
Yeah, Candy Kane in the chat, happy to see Albuquerque in the SFL now. Yeah, you and a lot of people, they definitely have earned it. But wow, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be great. Carolina continues its rise. So, you lost Ike earlier in the day, and you kind of knew that was going to happen. You're the RB1 now here.
Yeah, there's going to be another running back signing coming through, but as of right now, yeah, I will be RB1.
What do you think about that? I mean, do you fear for your safety as a player?
I just know it's going to happen one of these games. It's the elephant. I just know it's going to happen one of these games.
You got to work on that. How expensive is durability? You got to max the durability. You got.
The crazy thing is, the absolute crazy thing is, I went down twice after I upgraded it. Because I went down to one of those games. I upgraded my durability twice, and I still went down.
That's brutal. Even progression can't save you.
There's really nothing at this point that'll save me.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. All right, Harish, thank you very much for coming on and talking some Carolina with us. I get your reaction right here before we let you go. Jay Viper leaves Tulsa, going to Motor City at wide receiver, and then Shea Carroll's back with LA. So a couple more signings coming through. But Harish, thank you so much for joining the show. Good luck to Carolina, and see you at convention, buddy.
Yep, thanks for having me. I can't wait to see you guys.
All right, you too, bye.
All right,
All right, we have one more, Parker Thomas. Really looking forward to talking with him after he spent many seasons in Arizona and is now with his new team in Denver. There's a look at everybody's salaries in Denver and what that team is looking like right now. But Parker Thomas is playing, I believe he's going to be in the slot again, although he may be starting. Luke Schreiner, Parker Thomas, your top two contracts there in Denver right now at the cornerback spot. But we're going to try to get him on and wrap the show up from there. It has been a tremendous free agency frenzy show. It's been great having you all here. It's been great seeing all the signings roll through as we usually do. I did not get a hold of Parker. I'm going to try again, and then if I can't get a hold of Parker, then we'll jump into my queue. There he is. Parker, you there?
Hello there.
Hey, Parker. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Great, man. Happy to have you on the show. Congrats on the signing with the Denver Nightwings. I'm sure it's been a pretty unique offseason for you, but, I mean, you're a Denver Nightwing now. You're still in the same division with Arizona, but what were those conversations like, and how excited are you to be a Nightwing?
Oh, I'm very excited to be a Denver Nightwing, and there's a lot of people who actually were interested in a total of 10 teams that were interested in me when I announced I went to FA, and I really had to handpick which ones were been the most interested, and it was a really tough decision I had to make, because I had to look at each team, each roster, their stats, all that from last season, and look at how each team ended with their season this past season. And I thought, Denver has a very big history with the SFL. I was considering other teams as well, but I felt like Denver was the one that I felt was really a good pick because, I just like the team name, I like the colors, and I felt that was fitting. I felt it was very fitting.
Parker, it must have felt good to. This was your first time entering free agency. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Actually, I was first signed. I was not contracted in season 13. Then went to Oklahoma City, and then went to Arizona, and then went to Denver. Yeah, I went to FA. Yes.
My goodness, that's incredible. I mean, what a career! It must have felt really good to. I mean, obviously, it probably didn't necessarily feel great to hit free agency, but it must have felt good to have all those people get in contact with you and say, I would love for you to play for us. That's something that when a player hasn't necessarily experienced free agency, I know that there's a little bit of a rush in there. Some people stay on their whole team their whole career, but a lot of people, most people probably don't. And that must have felt so good to be recognized like that by everybody. Is that what you were going through in this process, or did you have some other emotions?
I have a mix of emotions and positive and negative. I felt sad I left Arizona. I really did. That was probably the most biggest low for me. But the old saying, the highest of the high, the lowest of the low. Sure. The first hit was the lowest of the low, but then the highest of the high when a lot of these other people were interested. And a couple other people were actually talking to me about this when I was announcing going to free agency. And a lot of people were very, they cared. A lot of people were very supportive. And it felt really good that a lot of the community really cared. And it just felt really good to be in the moment, just to really sink in how much interest I was, and that to me was a huge deal, and it felt like it felt really good that way.
Looking at Denver's roster, it's sort of Denver has been trying to build themselves back up for a few seasons. This feels a little bit different now this season as they try to hit the minimum. But Bailey is obviously the face of the franchise. But big get for Logan Gardner at defensive tackle from Jacksonville. I know that John Martin is a big signing for this franchise. He was general manager in Jacksonville, or at least in some capacity, I know, over his time with the Kings. And then obviously you have a bunch of players on your team returning as well. I know you're itching to get into that locker room, but what do you think about Denver's chances and the noise that you can make this season?
I think this season is just going to be. I'm treating it as more just like I did when Arizona was first announced. I'm going to treat it as like, hey, look at where we're at right now, kind of thing. It's more of give the attention to the lead and more of, hey, Denver's back kind of mentality, and that's the goal with me with this. And I think the defense overall, from what I've been seeing from this roster and all this signing, I think this team can probably in a couple seasons or a few seasons, if there's so much good build, it's possible that, a championship can be a rise coming soon.
Jeremy in the chat says it's time for Parker to move up, be a starter, and he's going to be our starting cornerback. We hope he is the cornerstone for us for a long time. So it's one of the best storylines, in my opinion, of the offseason. Long time, slot defensive back, finally getting a starting role, sort of being a part of this Denver resurgence, and you getting that big time opportunity. I know the game against Arizona is going to be a big deal for you, and obviously in the division as well. But I just can't say enough, Parker. Congratulations to you, and just what a great guy you've been in the SFL and a great teammate you've been for so long. And I'm really happy that you landed in a place that you can feel like you can call home, man. That's really special.
Well, I feel the same way. So, thank you.
Any other, as we wrap up the free agency show, any thoughts on any contracts that you've seen come through today? Is there anything that has really caught your attention?
What really caught my attention was a lot of the wide receivers, a lot of the offense really piqued my interest so far. The center, the guards, the defensive line, and defensive ends are mostly interesting. Like I said, the whole team is just kind of more of a shocker to me. That there's they picked a lot of big names, and especially Bailey coming in there because I've been talked about Bailey and a lot by the owner or the manager, GM, and I was like, okay, it's probably going to be an offense, like I said, in about a few seasons, that there's going to be a lot of big impacts. So that's like I said once, I'll say again, this team's going to be more of a, hey, SFL, Denver's back kind of mentality, and that's just my goal with this season. I'm not expecting high, expecting low.
Sure. Well, thank you, Parker, for joining the show and kind of capping off our night. It was a pleasure having you on. Congrats on your signing in Denver, and good luck this season.
All right. Yeah, I'll be going to the convention, so cannot wait to see you.
All right, Parker, are you in the convention channel?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, great. I'll make sure. I'll double check to make sure that you are. That's awesome. Can't wait to meet you. That made my night. Great, awesome stuff. Good job, Parker. We'll see you. We'll see you next month.
All right, I'll see you then.
All righty, bye. All right, that was Parker Thomas, and that was your Free Agency Frenzy show. Now, contracts are going to continue to roll through. You may see some restructures. You may see some players that didn't get a chance to be a part of our show tonight, but it all culminates in roster lock on June 26th. That's just 16 days from now. Once roster lock happens, then we can start building the file for the season, getting everybody situated on teams, because we've got playbooks due pretty shortly after that, and we try to turn that file around as quickly as we can. You could see there were some signings, free agency signings there for Chicago, but most of them are returning. It's just showing up yellow because they went from Seattle to Chicago. So that's a look at that. That's a look at what's coming up on the SFL schedule. We got minor league coming up on the 14th. The All-Star game comes your way a little bit later this month as well. And then roster lock, and we get moving on the convention. How many contracts got signed tonight? How many players are currently a part of SFL Season 23? That answer is 449. 449 players signed their contracts in the last 3 hours of free agency, but starting from 10 a.m. Eastern earlier today, or 11 a.m. Eastern rather earlier today. Bailey O'Shaughnessy right now with the highest contract. The top 5 highest contracts go to running backs so far. Mike Churchill of Pittsburgh gets the second. Shane Kaufman, who I think we missed earlier today as a re-signing, but he moves to halfback, $3.6 million. Dwayne Salmons and Darius Iniguas, another wide receiver to running back move at $3.4 million for Los Angeles. And then Gabriel Manning with that big contract. Nick Fargo has your top defensive contract right now at $3.255 billion, followed shortly by Anthony Weil. And there you see Houston's 2 running backs in the backfield, combined at $6.2+ million, up in the top 10 of highest contracts today. Couldn't have said it better myself, Candy. Everyone is pumped for a new season, and I appreciate everybody being here on the show with me tonight. We will see you Friday night for minor league, but until then, have a great week, everyone. Happy signing. Thank you all for believing in the product of the SFL for yet another season, and we can't wait to bring it to you starting Friday, July 12th from the SFL convention in League City, Texas. From all of us at the SFL, I'm Cameron Irvine, and we will see y'all next time.